Welcome to our first watch along with the Nesman Hockey Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm John Zell, if you don't know me, and with me as always is James Nichols of the fourth period. How's it going, man?
It's going. How about you, pal?
I'm all right. I feel a little anxiety heading to this game. How are you feeling?
It's tough to lose your number one center, especially till possibly after the Christmas break. We'll see what happens there. But a little bit of roll going here. So let's see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, I think I wanted to do this for the podcast. So if you're a regular listener of NHP, you might hear this twice. And I would love to hear James's answers maybe change from one to the other. And it may ruin it for the show. So hopefully we can recreate this later. But as we wait for the start here in just a few minutes, I wanted to throw out a few names at you.
Do it.
32 thought style on the
Okay.
Islanders.
Love it.
I
Am I
want
Elliot?
to.
Can I be Elliot?
You're Elliot.
Nice.
I'm Jeff Merrick here. So I thought of this before, and I've wanted to do this actually for a few episodes. So this is a good live practice run for us. So I'll throw out a few names. I want you to just whatever thoughts off the top of your head, 30 seconds, whatever. You don't have to go on like a huge rant here. First up, Zach Parise.
Hardest worker on the ice, night in and night out. I don't care what you say about how, he doesn't score any goals. Well, guess what? He scored last game. And listen, like you said multiple times, right? He was brought in not to be a goal scorer, but he's essentially a third line checking forward. We've said time and time again, if he can pot 15, 20 goals, great. Maybe he can still do that. Maybe he's just a late bloomer. Maybe he's like the Jordan Eberle of the Islanders. We know Jordan Eberle is doing well over in Seattle, but in an Islander system, maybe he's just going to score less. But listen, hardest worker on the ice. All right. He gives it his all 110% every shift. It was great to see him get rewarded. And listen, maybe you can keep it going at this point. You heard Barzell. Everybody was fired up to see him score, especially on his dad's birthday. Maybe this is just what he needed. Maybe the dam is broken.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't see it live. I saw the recording. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
The
it was
first
awesome.
thing I noticed was that he shot the puck and didn't make a move. And that was the first time on a breakaway or something like where he was in tight where he didn't make a move first in some way. He seems to want to do that. He's had a number of breakaways this season.
Yeah.
And this is the first time he just shot the puck. So
Yeah,
I was a little excited to see him just kind of, get back to basics. Don't do anything fancy. He's a lot like
right.
me when I used to play, or even now, the least fancy player out there. But just shoot the puck. Just get it at the net.
Right.
Stick on the ice. Just find your sweet spot and pick your poison, pick your shot there, and just go for it. So, I love all of that. A player we haven't really heard all that much about, maybe for better or for worse, one way or another. JG Pajot. Go for it.
Yeah, so I like what I've seen from him lately. Beginning of the year, maybe he was still dealing with the lingering effects from his wrist surgery, but more himself lately. I think he won 86% of his faceoff draws the other night. It was something like 12 out of 14. He had 2 points. He's looking good in all 3 zones. So loving what I'm seeing from him lately. Top 6 forwards are going to win you games. Bottom 6 forwards are going to win you championships. And, he could be a 2 center or a 3 center on any other team, but he is essentially this team's 3 center aside from tonight because he's filling in on the first line. But, you need him to keep doing what he does in winning faceoffs the way he does and then putting up a few points. He plays everywhere. He plays like 20 minutes a night. So, listen, these drafts are going to happen. Maybe he's a little tired at times, but it's good to see him, doing what he normally does again. Those faceoffs are huge, man. He's one of the best in the league at winning them.
Yeah, he's on a pretty regular basis. He's winning a huge amount of these faceoffs. It's kind of incredible. Usually, I hear some stat in the beginning of that third period that he's won, 11 of 12 or 14 of 15 or something like that, which is, that was my only thing. I was the face-off, get-off guy in high school. So I understand the role a little bit, although he's got a little bit more in his repertoire than I did.
Yeah.
but I understand how hard that is to do on a consistent basis. Usually, there's one guy on every team that you just struggle against. He doesn't seem to have that. So that's awesome to see. Going to the back end here, Ilya Sorokin. What do you think?
The white whale, the number one goaltender of the New York Islanders, because that's the way it's going right now. I think earlier, either today or yesterday, I forget which day it was, Barry Trotz alluded to, for every 3 games Sorokin plays, you'll probably see Varlamov just get 1. So you're looking at the new number one of the New York Islanders, the future of the franchise, the backbone of this team thus far this year. He's just been nothing short of fantastic, as advertised and more. We haven't had him that long. He won his 20th game, I believe, the
Correct.
last game. So he hasn't been here that long, but the history he's already made, the impact he's already had, he's been incredible. And to see him get an All-Star nomination already, or from from the writers, it was I think NHL.com did a who do you think will be in the All-Star game? It was actually both the New York Rangers and New York Islanders goaltenders, Igor Shesterkin and Ilya Sorokin. So to see what he's doing at this early in his career, even though he's already 26 years old, it's awesome. It's great to see.
I was a little surprised to see that. Sorokin does have all 7 wins for the Islanders so
Yeah,
far this season.
yeah. And look at the
Varlamov
save
was
percentage, and even despite the losses he's been a part of, for the most part weren't his fault. His save percentage is something like 925.
Yeah, that part is a little crazy for me.
Right.
That save percentage what is really high, but I was still surprised to see, that depending on how Varlamov plays, they are going to need both goalies to play well. I don't think that can be
Sure.
overstated. They are going to need both of them, but they're not going to be this tandem that they were 1A, 1B in the past, and that really the last 3 seasons with the
Well, and
Islanders, and probably even before that, there's always just been this tandem kind of going back and forth.
yeah, and here's why I think it works out, because Sorokin has largely stated before, I like a heavy workload. I like to be busy, not just in the game, but game to game. So he likes to see 40 shots because he'll get rhythm going, and he'll make most of those saves. He likes to play 3-4 games in a row because he likes to have that rhythm going. And the same could be said for, it's good for Varlamov too. Past 2 seasons, we've seen the injury bug has been real with him. So for him to be fresh, and for every 4 games he trots out there and gets a 28, 30 save performance and a win under his belt, you got 2 solid goaltenders being utilized, in my opinion, the way they should be.
Yeah, it's just surprising that it kind of came out of nowhere. Varlamov was hurt to start the year.
Yeah,
Sorokin getting the lion's share of the starts, but then it just kind of continued that way. So, Varlamov just has not. He really hasn't had the team playing well in front of him.
true.
So that's more than understandable.
Mhm.
But you know, I think that's it's important to see that Sorokin's doing well, and maybe Varlamov can just find his legs um, somewhere else. And I was trying to find. Um, I'm not good at looking up fancy stats here. What the stats were 5-on-5 versus in all situations for both goaltenders, because that could look a little bit different when you look at things like that. So I'll try to pull that up in a second. But maybe while you're going over your boy, uh, tell me your thoughts on Oliver Wahlstrom.
Listen, I've been loving what I've seen from him. According to Trotz, he's noticed that he becomes a little unfocused at times. The little details of his game occasionally to dip a little bit. Sure, that's normal in a young player. He's only 21, so these things are going to happen. Do I think he deserves to not get the top 6 minutes he probably should be playing? No. Do I think he should play next to Matt Barzell when Matt Barzell's healthy? Yeah. But he's scoring at the pace he's scoring at with limited minutes, which is really good to see. So you can see the developments happening. He's been doing pretty well on the third line, whether it's with Peugeot or tonight it's going to be Parise. I know he had a pretty good run with Zarnik, who I'm kind of surprised didn't get called up tonight, but that's another conversation for another time. I've been liking what I've seen from Wallstrom. The power play is really where he's most effective. He's not afraid to shoot, and we all know the Islanders need to get pucks on net, something they don't do, as much as they should be doing. And he's really just one of those players that the Islanders have been missing for a long time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He's definitely a little streaky, it seems. But he is finding his way to be able to pass that puck, setting up, I believe it was Bellows and maybe another goal over the last few games. I love that. I
Yeah,
love that he's becoming a little bit of a passer there, although he's always had that ability, especially on the power play. We've seen those seam passes, and him be able to get that through is amazing.
right.
He has that vision, and he has the ability to pass the puck really hard and quick across the ice. And Islanders were always desperate for that. What do you what do you think of the calls to get him more ice time? Because I think the comparisons with him and Johnston, who were getting both under 10 minutes, and Johnson maybe even getting a few more minutes. Uh, what do you have to say about that? What do you think about that?
It was interesting that he Trotz was asked about that last game. He said, honestly, I thought I played him more. Um, and I think it was a day later actually that it was proven the stat sheet was a little off. I think Wallstrom got something closer to like 11 and a half minutes, which is a little better, but still not great. What does he need to do? Again, those little details in his game that Trotz really wants him to pay attention to. I feel like he's been really good in his own end. The advanced analytics support that. He's top 5 in each category among skaters. But again, Trotz likes to use his veterans. He likes to trust his veteran forwards, and you know maybe the Islanders just need some more power play time. They don't often draw too many power plays. I think last game they only had like 2, so maybe the power play time will help him. But if he pays attention to those small details in his own end in the neutral zone, he'll be sure to get more time, maybe in the top 6. And the good thing was last game too, after he had 2 assists, Trotz said that he's definitely forcing my hand a little bit. If he continues to do what he's doing, he's eventually going to earn that promotion.
All right. Well, it looks like we missed a little bit of the start of the game here, so let's switch over to that. Um, do you have it on as well? I just want to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure we're
we are.
on the same page here. What's your time on there?
I'm at 18 minutes even.
Okay, I'm a little bit behind here. I'll see if I can't get caught up. Oh, I refreshed. It's a little clearer, so that's nice. And it looks like and we love Jacob loves to teach PN. Love that kind of support. Vegas is up 2-0 on the Boston Bruins, which is really important for the Islanders in this game, who are only 1 game behind the Boston Bruins, but 11 points behind them in the standings. So that's really going to be their benchmark moving forward is the Boston Bruins. That's the toughest mountain to climb. You can look around the standings there, and you see like, oh, they have a lot of games in hand, this and that. But with Boston, it's only 1. So this game on Thursday is also going to be super important
Yeah,
for
the
the New York
Islanders have
Islanders.
a lot of in division in conference games ahead of them, mostly at home too. So somebody actually asked me about this earlier today. I was on another show, and they had asked me what are the hopes for the Islanders making the playoffs, because they had started so slow. And although I did say it's going to be hard, it's an uphill battle. It's a big mountain to climb. The thing that benefits them is how many home games they have. If they could start utilizing the UBS Arena like it was the Nassau Coliseum, and the in division in conference games they have to climb that ladder. So that's one of the benefits.
Yeah, like I said, I think the issue that I have is that the Boston Bruins only have 1 more game in hand. Like they only have 1 game in hand on the Islanders there, or rather, the Islanders have only 1 game in hand on Boston Bruins with a huge mountain to climb as far as points. So that's the benchmark. We could try to we could debate that here and there, and I understand what you're saying about the home games, but they just have to win the games. There's really just no 2 ways about it.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, uphill battle. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
They got to decide what kind of team they're going to be for the rest of the year, and they got to decide soon. That Christmas break is creeping up, and you know they say they say you can determine your playoff status in the month of November. We're halfway through December now, which is crazy. I feel like it's crazy to say,
Oh yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's going to be tough.
Notice anything so far
Good
in this
pace.
game?
Yeah, good pace. Couple chances already. Um,
Pajot looks good between Palmieri and Lee.
yeah, definitely. Not too many chances in the slot. Not too many chances high danger. Really keeping them to the perimeters right now, which is good. That's what we've seen the last 3 years from the Islanders, and that's what you want to continue to have them do. Keep those shots from the outside. Don't let them get on the inside. So, yeah, definitely good to see. I'm interested to see how this is the second game in a row Chara and Dobson are together again, and I feel like Trotz decided to go back to it just because how well Dobson's been playing lately.
He
Um,
can carry that.
yeah, that's the
Um,
hope, right?
yeah, I mean, he's just getting shots to the net. He's obviously feeling it. He's got goals in 3 of 4. And it's so funny because I had said early in the season, like I tweeted it a bunch. I just wanted to see a little more of that killer instinct from him. Get pucks to the net, make it hard for goalies to stop. It just seemed like he was playing a lot like Bavilier was playing as of late. A little lackadaisical, a little, I don't want to say soft, but just a little kind of um haphazardly. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of energy there. So I love to see that from him. The Islanders are kind of dying for that next puck moving defenseman. I don't think he's quite there in that aspect of it. But
Yeah,
as far as an offensive defenseman, if you can, get Pulak back and he kind of returns to form as far as a goal scorer who is kind of been snake bitten the last few seasons,
yeah.
that's amazing. So that to kind of have both of them in the lineup is great. And so far, just seeing Peugeot between the two of them. I'd love to see him see some success there and kind of have the team kind of mix up the lines a little bit to see what works moving forward because he's really good and he's got offensive minded tendencies.
You talking about
Um,
Peugeot?
Peugeot,
Hmm.
to see like what I think well Palmieri and Peugeot have played well together in the past. It's just a matter of are you willing to break up Lee and Barzell if that's the case. I don't know what has to happen for that to occur for Trotz, but um, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Lee plays real well with Barzell. I think he's one of the key pieces that makes that line so great. I think the only thing that would round it out to be even better is that sniper, whether it's Wallstrom or whether they, decide to venture out and acquire one. Or if it takes until the offseason and they sign one. I know there's a few players in the offseason who are going to be available. Conversation for another time, but just in terms of that first line, you have Anders Lee park himself right in front of the goaltender. Matt Barzell skates circles around everyone, making them turn their heads left, right, and just
Right.
get confused. And then he finally feeds it off to that sniper who, if he doesn't score, Lee's there to clean up the garbage in front of the net. So it just
I
seems like
always
a
thought
perfect
Barzell is
recipe.
the sniper, though. I
He
think
could
that's
be.
I think that's my when he started to shoot last season, we said, "Is this the birth of Barzell the sniper?" And excuse me, maybe why we shouldn't drink beer on this live stream, but I, I thought I thought I thought that was kind of the thing. So maybe that dynamic on that top line was a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Lee was the guy in front of the net. Barzell's going to shoot. Um, what's the role of this other player at that point? What type of player do they need? What is the what's and then we've asked this question before. What's the right top winger, not just for Barzell and Lee, but in the Trot system?
Yeah. I
Clear
mean,
Eberle definitely worked. Palmieri hasn't. I mean, let's put a huge caveat on there. He worked in the playoffs last year. It wasn't very consistent, but it got him out of a round, and that's a big deal,
yeah.
right? You kind of need a player or two to step up in every series, and he definitely did, and he got them out of that series. So I think that's really, really important to remember.
Maybe
Um,
maybe it's a guy like Anthony Beauvillier. Maybe a guy who, has not the same kind of speed and dynamic skating as Barzell, but pretty close to it. Two guys who can really make you, confused in your own end. Which way do I look? These guys are so fast. And you have Lee in front, who's, just pounding away, battling in front of the net. And
I
again,
think I think that's right. Someone to buzz around a little bit
yeah,
and do that because that's not necessarily Palmieri, right? He is a little more hard nosed, which does kind of make sense for the Trot system.
Yeah.
But just on that last break, they were showing the pass from Lee to Palmieri and Pajot kind of streaking down the middle. That was a great little saucer pass there to get that shot on net. Pajot didn't have a ton of time, but that was a good look for him.
That was a good play just
And
now by Clutterbuck, who fed Matt Martin streaking to the net in alone for a tip on net. Puck went over the net, but good play by the fourth line. You need that out of the fourth line. They're the energy line. They need to bring that kind of thing. Look, they're not your atypical fourth line, and maybe they're a little more worn out than they were in previous years. But if they could start doing that again, and chip in a little bit more offensively while banging bodies, this team's going to get a little back to their usual self.
yeah, I'd love to just see Cizikas start potting them here and there. Islanders have been on the receiving end of a lot of shorthanded goals. I'd love for him to just start to get back to form there. Even Pajot, both of them are very capable of that. Was Pajot's first goal at the Islanders shorthanded? Why? I don't know why that's sticking out to me.
It might have
But
been. You might be right about that.
um,
Parise's is.
Parise says, it's like that. You want to see more of those chances, and they have the speed. That's probably why they brought him in, because Komarov was pretty fast for a penalty killer. He knew his way around the ice in that regard.
Yeah.
And Parise definitely fits that. He's very quick. He's got a lot of tenacity, a lot of bite to his game. So I think that's a big part of it. And yeah, if the fourth line can get back to form in any respect. But like, I like this kind of like Anders Lee Pajot connection right now is working. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
might just
No.
be it might just be the three of them working together. I'm liking how, I think Lee can't just keep passing from his own blue line to the opposite boards over and over again all game. That can't be the play, but they are getting shots to the net. They're a little low quality for what you expect the Islanders to do, but the ideas are there, as you've heard coaches say. I'm sure it was the right idea. It just wasn't kind
Yeah.
of executed 100%.
Yeah. No. I think Andrews Lee works well with a speedy center, and that's why it works with Barzal so well, and that's why it's working well with Pajot too. He's got underrated speed. And all Lee needs to do is get to the front of that net and deflect a shot. Battle in front of the goaltender, screen the goalie, and that's why it works so well when he's skating with someone fast. He's not the fastest, but he's a big body, strong body, who's going to battle hard in front of the net. That's what you need from Anders Lee. It's what he's going to do every time.
Yeah, and I want to, just because I'm a few seconds behind you, but in watching the last Wings rush there, that kind of turned on to an abbreviated 2-on-1. Kevin Kurz, who is the new athletic beat reporter for the New York Islanders, he
Yes,
had
sir.
posted yesterday, and we mentioned it in Isles Fix in the newsletter, that an NHL coach said that the Islanders defense is too slow.
Mhm.
And I hate how true that is. It just like it made me annoyed that was a thing. And I wondered what you thought about that, because there's a particular player in mind, but I think it's a few of them that stand out in that way.
It's true, right? Mayfield continues to be underrated in that aspect, so I don't want to rope him in with the slow guys. But Andy Green's not the fastest. Obviously, Zdeno Chara is not the fastest. You're without Ryan Pulak right now. This is where you want to try out your kids. And Robin Sello's getting that chance. Sebastian Aho did get that chance. He brought a little bit of a different dynamic that they hadn't had since trading Nick Leddy. He's a puck mover. But so is Robin Salo. And it would be great to see if he can get his game going consistent and maybe stick at this level because they do need that puck mover. So ever since losing in back-to-back off seasons, both Devin Tays and now Nick Leddy, yeah, they're missing a little bit of that speed and that edge. Is it coming soon? Before the trade deadline? Maybe. Is it an offseason acquisition? Maybe. Is it one of these kids who can step up and play regular NHL minutes every night? Maybe. So, although it's true, it's not too hard of a fix if they can fix that via acquisition or if they can fix that via one of the prospects.
I don't disagree with the last part there. I think that's an option. They just need to figure out if they're going to do it or not, because I don't
Yeah.
think they can just. I don't think they'll be able to climb out of it even with Pulak back, because that means likely Salo goes down. They're not going to lose Aho to waivers. We've said that multiple times. They're probably just not going to do that.
I think what's tough is they have to make a decision on what they're going to do with Chara. We say all the time on the show, if he goes unnoticed, great. But I think the fact that they're missing that aspect of a puck mover, and it maybe Dobson turns into that. He's progressing pretty well right now, but I still don't think he's that ultimate threat yet. Yet he could get there, but I think the puck mover is the problem. So if you're sitting there, right, you lose Tays, you lose Letty in back to back seasons, and essentially you replace them with, you want to say Dobson, but really also Char is back in that lineup, right? It's tough to say that he should be an every night guy. And I know Trotz likes him, thinks his game has progressed, thinks he's settled in.
It's the
Um,
physicality, I think.
and that's
He's
right,
fighting. He's that size back there.
right.
I don't know that that's today's NHL. You see, and it's hard to disagree with some of this stuff. And I think that was part of that Kerr's photo, or I saw it somewhere else. Um, it's a very old school built roster,
Yeah.
and it works. We could say this till we're blue in the face. It's a playoff roster for sure when healthy. Um, but they have to make it. And something
Yeah.
I heard on Steve Dangle podcast a day or two ago was this team can't, and I think I even wrote it down. I'm happy I just remembered pulling it up. Because the Leafs are a lot like this, right? And I've said this before about the Islanders in regard to injuries and different things. They cannot be one or two players away from disaster at all times, right? Like they should be able to get through Pulak being out and Nelson being out, right? Like that's not ideal, but good teams know how to do it. They know how to stay afloat. Now, again, COVID notwithstanding, um, and multiple players being out. You're talking about 5, 6, 8 players.
Don't ask me how
Um,
that puck just ended in that, by the way. That was an incredible save by Ilya Sorokin. Continue.
I'm a little behind, but if it's a little bit of a mess here, I haven't seen the. Oh, here's the puck going the other way. I imagine this is what you're talking about here.
Could be.
Wings are good, man.
They're young, they're fast.
They're fun. Look, they're just being creative. They're fun. They have nothing to lose out there.
Yep.
That's the best kind of hockey, and you saw that with the Islanders a few years ago, if you remember.
Hmm.
Uh, heading in, I think that was maybe Tavares last season or the season before, um, where they were really just like had absolutely nothing to lose. Then got within 1 point. They were just playing. They didn't think they were going to make the playoffs anyway. They were just playing good hockey and wound up kind of sneaking back in there,
Yeah.
at least partially back into the conversation. So it's possible that they can do that now and just know that they don't have anything to lose. But yeah, Detroit is just, they look like they're really, really enjoying themselves out there.
Yeah,
I like
I like their makeup right now with how do you pronounce it? Moritz. He's a rookie. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And Lucas Raymond, another rookie who's tearing up the score sheet. They've been
Oh my
really good.
God. To the point where Sweden is like, he wasn't on our 55-man roster for the Olympics, which
Yeah.
is a different conversation. Um, but we really, can you make an exception or something to that effect? So yeah, definitely a really good um, roster. I expect nothing less out of Steve Yzerman there.
Yeah, it's
Um,
always good when you get one rookie to perform well in his rookie year. But to get two, like they're getting right now, I mean, they're both up for the Calder Trophy at this time.
yeah, which is absolutely crazy.
It's nuts.
Um, and in thinking about, I don't think the Red Wings are getting the respect that they deserve for playing as well. I don't think anyone believes that they can keep it up. Um, but and I think that and I think that reflects on if the Islanders wind up winning tonight. I don't think that's going to be 2 wins in a row, 3 and 4 points in however many, um, save for that Nashville game. They're not going to get the respect until they start beating good teams consistently. Like
Oh yeah.
you can only beat who's on the schedule in front of you, right? Like that's something that's said over and over and over. That was like last season. They're dealing with the hand that they're dealt, right? Like you can't really do anything outside of that, but they can start sneak up the standings. No one is going to give them the respect. And I think Islander fans need to understand this. They're not going to all of a sudden get this respective say rattling off 6 wins in a row, having only beaten Boston as the good team. right? Like they're expected to beat. They're a better team than some of these guys. They
Yeah.
need to do it. So I think that's where what my main point is. They need to start beating some good teams on a regular basis.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's just this is something I've been saying for a while, and it continues to reign true as of this moment. With Matthew Barzal out, Ryan Pulock still out on injury. When has this team been able to get any sort of rhythm, any sort of consistency? It hasn't happened yet, and that's what hindered them at the start of that losing streak on the road. It continued into the UBS arena, and add to the fact that the COVID thing happened, the injuries started to pile up, and it's just tough to see. Today Matt Barzell's on COVID protocol. Tomorrow, who knows? The last time one player got it, another one got it, and then another one got it. Slowly but surely, there was 8 guys out with COVID, 7
Yeah,
guys out with
that's
COVID. So that's what's scary right now. Here's
and
the other thought.
no
Here-
one has avoided the 10 days,
right,
save for Bavillier's
right,
false positive.
right. And here's the other thought. What happens if Sorokin gets it? Because both he and Varlamov have avoided it.
Yeah,
But
and there's no considerations right now for there's teams in cap situations. The Canes are playing with 11 forwards tonight and 7D. They don't have any other options. So it's a little tough.
it's tough. Sorokin already missed the first 9 games because of injury. So if he goes down again, that's even tougher. And then all of a sudden, let's just say for some reason they both go on that list. Who's your goaltender? Corey Schneider.
Yeah,
They didn't trust him to play the first 9 games.
if they both do it, yeah, that's the tough thing. I think Varlamov, if the team is playing better in front of them, I think he starts playing better. Like I think he gets into a little bit of a rhythm. So I think
Yeah.
that's fine. Looks like the Islanders are going to the PK here. Maybe I'm a little behind.
Yeah, he
Um,
Scott Mayfield for hooking.
it's weird. I'm seeing number 39. Is that Grice? Am I missing that? Wow, I
No,
don't know. I
that's
can't.
Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic. I
Yeah.
can't not think. If he had a similar mask, I can't not see 39 in a Red Wings uniform and not think Hasek. I
That's
might be
fair.
dating myself like a little bit,
That's
but
fair.
I
It was
can't look at that and be like, oh, that's Hasek.
more recently. It was Anthony Mantha. I had been following him a
Oh,
while
that's
because
right. That's
I
right.
wanted him. I like him as a shooter. I thought he would have complemented the roster well. He's about that age where he would fit in just right. Capital snagged him though. He's doing pretty well over in Washington. They gave up a little bit, for him, but ultimately I think it worked out for the Capitals. He's a good player.
Yeah, I think eventually it will. Grice is not a long-term solution there by any stretch, but
I don't know how much of a hook that was on Dylan Larkin just there. It seemed like he just, maybe got his stick up in his midsection. I don't know if there was an actual hook there though. I didn't see any forward progression stopping on the part of Dylan Larkin, but so,
I'm seeing it now.
so be it.
It's just a stick in the midsection. I can't even tell if the stick was on the inside or the outside. From where the ref that made the call was standing,
Yeah.
it looks like a hook. The officiating is just, as always, because this league is a joke. The officiating is just not good or any kind of consistent. So I don't expect that call to go kind of any other way because I don't like you hear the play-by-play or whatever say this every single game. Well, refs are going to call that every time, sticks parallel to the ice, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, no, is it a hook or not? Like, I don't care where his stick is. His stick can be up near his face, and if he throws his head back, it's not like, oh, control your stick. It's no, well, did he hit him or not? Like, I think those things are very different.
Yeah.
So they need to find some way to be consistent here.
That was a very interesting sequence that just happened. Nedeljkovic had the puck on his stick in the crease. Peugeot didn't go for it, and nobody did anything. And then suddenly Nedeljkovic just swiped it out of the crease, and play continued. I'm very confused as to what just happened there. You're probably seeing it now.
I'm seeing it now. Yeah, I don't understand what.
That was I think he was waiting for a whistle, but no whistle came. Very odd.
I don't know why Peugeot thought He must not have been looking or something.
Yeah, maybe not.
That's a joke. That's such an Islanders thing, right? Like Peugeot doesn't touch it. There's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Delkovich is looking at the fucking ref. Peugeot's not looking at anything that has to do with the puck. And then Dylan Larkin comes the other way. Deeks Dobson out his freaking jock strap, and luckily he misses the net. Like, God, that's such an Islanders just like absolute nonsense.
It's such an
thing.
Islanders does not compute thing. Like, I could swipe the puck off the stick of the goaltender right now. Maybe I won't. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I don't. That's so wild to me. Yeah, Islanders just like getting outshot by a team they have no business. And I said this on the podcast last week. Like, it annoys me that they're just not playing better. Like, they should be out shooting teams. I know it's their strategy. They should just be out shooting teams that are not as good. Like they need to. It can't be like your strategy to just get outshot every single game because they're not even getting quality shots at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, you
I
just need
don't
to
want
be
to
better.
I don't want to discredit the Red Wings, right? They're in are they in playoff position? They might be. I think they're a couple points out of
No,
the wild. They're 1 point out of the wild card behind the Bruins and the 2 points behind the Penguins.
but they have games.
That's
They have one less game played than the Pittsburgh and two more. Actually, four more than Boston. Again, Boston is the team that the Islanders need to see start losing a little bit, and they also need to beat them. So this is a really good night for them.
yeah,
If they win tonight, Boston loses, and they can beat Boston on Thursday. That's a huge. That's actually the step you want to see them take.
yeah.
The teams around them, the Philadelphias,
That's a
the New
bad
Jerseys,
turnover.
whatever.
That's a
You, you,
great back check by Bevilier. Sorry.
no, that's fine. That's kind of the point here. We're mixing podcast, and I'm not a play-by-play. I'm no Brendan Burke. So I appreciate, and it stinks that we're like slightly behind. Are you actually watching it on TV?
Yes, I am.
See, there you go. I don't think there's anything I can do. Yeah, great back check there. Love
Great
to see
back
it.
check.
That's the stuff you need to see from him, right? Like, if you're not
Yeah.
going to score goals, you need to be on both sides of the puck. You can't be a liability out there. He's playing with a lot more jump tonight. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, message sent, right?
You want to think that he might have just been tired. I know that there were a couple people out there. There were a couple people on Twitter kind of defending the team a little bit against some like bigger Islander writers, or bigger Islander voices, like that they were getting on Villiers' case, and I think that's fair to some extent. But their point was, give him a little credit. They just went through some shit.
I
Like,
agree.
you can't just get on everybody's case and like he hasn't scored in a bajillion games and Palmieri and this, like, they're also playing with nobody. They were going through. They're stressed. Am I going to get it? This and that. Like, especially right now with the way things are trending, the NHL I don't know how not teetering on just kind of canceling things for a while. I think they're just hoping they can get to the Olympic break and then players not go so that they either have time to make up games or just shut it down for a few weeks and not really lose anything.
Yeah.
At least, maybe have 2 weeks to just shut down instead of 5 and not kind of risk players being out an additional 5 after that. Because as much as that the NHL and the teams won't be paying players if they're stuck in China, if they test positive,
Yeah.
which is, in theory good, they know that that's going to hurt the on ice product. And, if Connor McDavid's out for 5 weeks because he's stuck in China, the least of, the team's worries should be like, oh, at least we're not paying him. It's like, yeah, no one's coming to the games and we're also going to lose for 5 weeks because McDavid's not in the lineup. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm seeing that Olympic dream kind of go to shit, which means that maybe the Islanders have an opportunity there too.
Yeah.
Hopefully the season's not too far gone by then to get everybody back healthy, maybe practice a little bit and get their shit together. So kind of hoping at this point, as much as I do love the Olympics, would super love to see that not happen so the Islanders can get their stuff together.
No, I'm with you there. I mean, as much as I would love to have the Olympics, and it's only every 4 years, and I'm sure the players want to go. There's also been it's openly stated a select number of players who don't know if they're going to go because of the current situation that's happening. There was something like 25 players today who went on COVID protocol. it's
which is
tough.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's a tough situation right now, and that scheduled 2-week window where everybody can just maybe rest, relax, and get healthy is huge. It would help immensely. Um, you hope things don't take a turn for the worse before we get there, but that's right around the time where teams start um making moves and it's closing in on the trade deadline and everything. So a lot can still happen. But I think it's the perfect opportunity to get everybody league wide healthy.
Yeah, league wide, just like for the product of every single team. I think that's absolutely right. A
Yeah.
lot of shots this period, for each team. Islanders are
Yeah.
down, as you can see on the screen,
It's
by
good
a
to
little
see the
bit,
Islanders
but
keeping pace with it too, because normally they're outshot pretty heavily, at least in the first frame this season. But only being down, 3 shots right now is pretty good for them, especially where they're at right now.
definitely. Whew, a little bit of a. Oh, I thought it was a commercial break, but too late in the period for that.
Yeah, we're coming down to the closing seconds. Another name, you were throwing names at me earlier before the game started. I'll throw one at you right now. Kiefer Bellows. Love what I'm seeing from him.
Definitely finding his game a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, goal here and there doesn't hurt. Um, I think we mentioned this on the podcast last week. He can't just rely on that. Not on this team, not with this coach. He needs to find a way to kind of be more of an impact player there, away from the puck. So, um, if he can find his game, the roster isn't really set by any means. So if he can find his way to score some more goals, I think it's going to be hard to kind of outplay uh, Zach Parise, but he can definitely outplay maybe some of the other veterans. So I think that's really important. Um, Big update here from our boy Jacob in the chat. Vegas up 4-0.
It's quite the margin.
So that's again good for Islander fans. That means Boston's going to come out hungry. Brad Marchand was the other big name that went on the COVID protocols today.
Yes, he
Um,
was.
so um, something to kind of look out for as we move forward. And we are going to take a short break for the intermission here, just for like a minute, catch our breath. We'll kind of go over the first period afterwards, and we'll see you in a sec. And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us here. Any big highlights? So we're gonna do our best intermission report, MSG intermission report here, sponsored by DraftKings. Make sure to use that THPN promo code. Uh, Link is somewhere, probably in the bio on YouTube. Definitely click that. And if you like sports betting and all that, get on it.
It's actually in the bottom right corner of our screen right now.
It is, yeah. The promo code. I think there's a link for them to use for December. Make sure to do that so we can keep these streams going, keep the product good. The boys at the Hockey Podcast Network doing a lot of good work to makes all these shows so much better with all the production value that they give us an insight. And shout out to our boy Josh from THPN who got us all hooked up on this. So very cool.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the first period? It wasn't terribly exciting, but wanted to just kind of get some thoughts.
Yeah, no, it was a good period. Nothing too much in either end, which is okay. Sometimes it's the first period, so a little bit of a feeling out process, a little bit of an open game there. So some good chances. I saw good chances from the Peugeot line. I saw some good chances from the Zizekas line. Anthony Beauvillier looks really good. Coming off of his benching last game. And I like what I'm seeing from, like I said before, Kiefer Bellows. He had one stretch there, one shift where he skated the puck out of his own zone. Wound up winning a puck battle after he carried it into the neutral zone and then sent that puck down the ice into the offensive zone, just for a change. But small little details in his game that are going to help the Islanders win games right now. I thought that was something good to see. One of the things I didn't like from that period was the questionable penalty on Scott Mayfield, but nonetheless a penalty on him. Just position yourself a little bit better and you can avoid situations like that.
That's that kind of slowness, right? Like
Right.
where if he had a little bbit quicker feet there, and that's not his role. I think it's unfortunate that he's playing, kind of a top line minute there.
Yeah.
Top line minutes with Pelech. This is not what his role is.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why he always did well with a puck mover, right? And when he played with Devin Tays or he played with Nick Leddy, less Nick Leddy, but more Devin Tays, he needs a puck mover next to him, and he's kind of that stay-at-home defenseman. So, but listen, when Pulla comes back, maybe he could play with Dobson. Maybe that's the second pairing. Maybe Chara can take a seat, and it could be Salo playing with Green. So, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, this is the defense that we're getting. One other play that stands out in my mind was Beauvillier wound up making a good play on the back check, but the breakout rush that Noah Dobson tried to start. I don't mind him trying to make a move to continue skating the puck out of the zone, but he needs to know that he's going to get that puck past the defender and not create a turnover. He did ultimately end up creating a turnover, but again, I don't completely mind it coming from him because, 21 years old, trying to find his game, trying to build that confidence. If he can start making that work in the future, great. Wouldn't try it too often because it wound up being a 2-on-1. But he's trying to become that puck mover. You could see it coming from him. He's trying to do be that Nick Leddy, be that Devin Tays. Maybe it'll work out, but he's got to continue to just make sure pucks get cleanly out of the zone and into the offensive zone.
I did. So speaking of which, I did see Robin Salo with a great outlet pass.
Yes.
To Zizekas in that period. You want to see a lot more of that from him. I didn't see him on the ice an awful lot in that period. But he is getting his chances. It's very weird at times. Trotz is like, we're not going to, doesn't use those young players,
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Aho and Dobson are leading the defense in ice time. So it's interesting how that's worked out for the Islanders so far. But yeah, Mayfield's leading in ice time right now.
Yeah.
For the game in general. We forget Nick Leddy is in this game.
He is in this game, and he's actually been playing pretty well.
Yeah. It's kind of tough to see, honestly, see him in an opposing team's jersey. But, so you see Peugeot winning 100% of the faceoffs. Nelson just
again.
33%. Yeah, just again. Andrews Lee won a faceoff or two in that period as well. So, or at least a faceoff. I was trying to look for Salo's ice time here. So 5:38. That's not bad. Played more than Peugeot. Beauvillier, not weird for a defenseman.
Yeah.
Looks like the least amount out of all the defenders for the Islanders, but that's still not bad for the youngster.
Andre says the only way the Islanders can have prolonged success is if Wallstrom and Dobson turn into impact players. Um, and listen, I won't disagree with you. It'd be great if they do turn into impact players. It seems to be trending in that direction as well. I don't think they're the only ones that are the players who can become impact players, though. We've seen Beauvillier be an impact player in the playoffs. We need to see that consistency from him every night. And
That was one
that
of
doesn't
my big players this season. He was a key player for me. It
right,
wasn't it wasn't those main guys.
right,
It was Beauvillier, Dobson, Wallstrom. But the top of that list is a guy that is looking for a breakout season. We've seen it from Wallstrom. Um, we don't really need to see it from. We need to see some consistency from him. That's fine. But Villiers is either on or off. He's a lot like
right.
Eberle, and that was frustrating to have both of them in the lineup at times.
Right. So, you have a guy like Beauvillier who we've seen can be an impact player, but needs to find it consistently. A guy I just said in Kiefer Bellows, I really like what I'm seeing from him. If he can do this every night and if he earns every night minutes, he can become an impact player. We've seen JG Peugeot, who is an impact player, not really make the impact he would make every season, start to make that impact recently. So hopefully that continues. You lose an impact player like Matt Barzell. There's a lot of quote unquote impact players on this team. It's just a matter of finding the consistency, a matter of finding the momentum to continue playing that way night in and night out. It's just a weird, tough year where there are just so many obstacles and so many reasons why that momentum gets halted and stopped that is really hindering the Islanders right now. We're gonna lose if this I'm sorry. I just lost my train of thought. No, I got it. The Islanders are going to lose Matthew Barzell possibly until after Christmas if that COVID protocol test that he took remains positive. Maybe it could be
For
a
10
false.
days. Right.
Right. We're going to lose him for 10 days, 5 games. So if you lose him for the next 10 days, that's till after Christmas. That's 5 games, and those 5 games could be huge for where they are in the standings right now. If it's a false positive like it happened to Beauvillier, great, he comes back earlier. But at this time, the Islanders had 8 guys get go under COVID protocol, only one. So 1 for every 8. The odds aren't very good right now. So, but this team has a lot of impact players that if they could all get going at the same time, look out. There's no reason why they can't start accruing and collecting a bunch of points here.
You're not wrong at all. I think, this is the kind of the counter argument that a lot of Islander fans put on the table when people are saying that the team is a little too old and blah blah blah. I think there are a number of players they just need to step up, and they just haven't on a consistent basis yet.
Right.
So yeah, you can point to Palmieri's, and Lee and maybe even Nelson, are definitely on the older side. Bailey for sure. But they do have at least Wallstrom and Beauvillier and Barzell that you can still build around on the fly. You've seen other teams do it in the Boston Bruins and some other teams. You can even look at those players as maybe the big three, not quite the same level as the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they have some good young players that they can build around for years. They know Tavares isn't going to be there forever, but you have Nylander, Matthews, and Marner that will. And you just need to find complementary players for them moving forward. Move some players down the lineup and try to figure it out in the future. Lee is Palmieri in the future, moving down maybe to that third line. Like, I think it's just trying to find out what's going to work and what's not. But those younger players need to make a bigger impact. Barzell's doing his part. Wallstrom is on and off.
Yeah.
Bavillier's even worse on and off as far as lack of consistency. So I'd really love to see him kind of break out. Like, for years now, if you look back, if you Google like breakout season Beauvillier, tons of articles come up for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And he just flat out hasn't done it.
Right.
He's played really well. He's made an impact. He's a reason why this team is or was as good as it was, but it could be better.
No, 100%.
But to be fair, Barzell has also not been that either. He's an impact player every single game, but you need to see him score points on a regular basis. And now in the Trot system, it's a little bit different. You can't expect him to score at the same rate. But you need to see, those points in 6 straight games more regularly.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
he's
definitely
gotta be
agree.
a point per game or better player or just over a point per game player. Um, you need Lee. I don't really care how old he is. He needs to find a way to score goals. He's a 20 goal guy.
Yeah.
Um, Nelson's on his way back. He's another one. But again, those younger players, as you said, are the real future of this team. And you can include Bells in there. You can include
Yeah.
Dobson in there. I don't think Peugeot is as old as people think,
I think
but
he's 27, maybe going on 28.
so he's got you can throw him three more seasons there. Some of the other players over 30 or 30 or older already, it's a little tough. Um, but yeah, I think you gotta one way or another they gotta figure something out here.
Yeah, and you wonder when, like you said, those younger players are key parts of this, forward progress in a positive direction. You wonder when guys like Kiefer Bellows and Oliver Wahlstrom are going to start accruing more minutes. And it's interesting to me. I think I said this to you a couple weeks ago. When Kiefer Bellows wasn't a regular and then he would fill in the lineup, for some reason it was always in the top six, and Wallstrom would just never get that promotion. So I thought that was interesting. Now they're playing in the bottom six together, but at some point, look, Bavillier isn't really scoring at the pace you had hoped. Josh Bailey's kind of been a ghost right now, so it's like, okay, maybe we give them less minutes. Maybe we promote Wallstrom and Bellows and see what they can do with more minutes. You're not going to know what you have in them unless they get more time.
So
Um,
I'll stop you there because and it's something that we've said a number of times on the podcast. There's 3 second lines on this team.
sure.
There's no promotion or demotion. You're not on the third line as a demotion. He's not on a third line with Bellows, right? Like that's where I'll push back against kind of what you're saying here.
Okay.
It's I don't think that the lack of time and this and that. It's all about utilization. It's all about playing your role on a specific line. He's very much, I don't know if you remember in those old NHL games where if you had all the right types of players, you'd get like a 2% boost on everybody on that line,
Right.
right? Like if you had a playmaker, forward checker, and a whatever, and a shooter, you'd get, higher points or their stats would go up. I think that's the kind of the way that Trotz is thinking, right? Like if you can put complementary players together, that makes sense. He may not ever see Barzell and Wallstrom making sense together because they're both kind of snipery players. It doesn't make sense unless you're on the power play. And now I only proof I have is that he just hasn't done it yet, right?
I can't agree with you there. I think it's more that Trotz just wants to see those minor details. The minor details are a major deal to Trotz, right? The small things that say Kyle Palmieri does on a shift in the neutral zone or in the defensive zone, that maybe Oliver Wahlstrom is just missing out on, are really what's separating him from third line minutes and first line minutes. And I will also say that, yes, I do agree that we have 3 second lines, but there is a difference in minutes from the first to the third line. And whether that's,
Some of
a
it's
minute and a half,
sometimes it's power play time, sometimes
that's
it's
that's also
bars
true.
out. They are going to get more minutes. I'm not discounting that by any stretch.
No, of course.
I think what my point is though is like it's all about how do the lines work. He's not going to front load unless it's late in the period or something like that. He's just not going to front load the lines. He's going to roll 4 lines. He wants everything to be even. He's going to put players together that make sense. Some of it has to do too with, Walsham going against the first line's defensive pairs on the other team.
Yeah.
You're trying to set him up for some success. I've said that before too on the show. You want to kind of spread them out. If you have the ability to spread out your goal scorers a little bit without having a negative effect on your goal scoring more than the Islanders are already kind of handicapped just by the system they play, you have that ability. That's good. You don't want Wallstrom out there with against the other team's top defenseman. Who's centering the line with Bellows and
Zach Parise
or
tonight.
Zach Parise? So that works out, right? Like you're the same argument that I used for why Zarnik was up over Koivula for a second. I think Koivula did have a little bit of a wrist injury there, but on top of that, I think Zarnik was just the type of player, so it's hard to argue who should be wearing the lineup because I think he's trying to fit a role and not really thinking about it at promotions on this line and that line. It has nothing to do with it. Who's playing well together, who complements one another, period of end of story.
I have a hard time
I mean, just
not
that's literally based on what has happened.
no, that is based on what has happened, but let's focus the lens out a little bit on the Islanders and look at the NHL, right? You have lines like Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, a distributor and a sniper. You have lines like Patrice Bergeron and David Pastrnak, a distributor and a shooter. Those guys are scoring 35, 40 goals every season. There's no reason. Look, I know you think that Barzell has a sniping element to his game, and sure, he's shooting and it looks good. He's a distributor. He's a playmaker. And as we get underway in the second period here, um, that's the kind of player that I think would that perfectly complement Barzell, and then vice versa,
I mean,
perfectly complement Wallstrom. And I understand, Wallstrom's going to have to start playing against top pairing defensemen, sure, but he's also got better players around him.
yeah, and
Barzell.
I'm explaining what's happening. I think that's where there's a little bit of disconnect here, is that I don't disagree with you. I think he should be there. I'm explaining what's taking place and trying to make some kind of sense of it. I want to see it.
Yeah,
It won't be. I don't think it ends badly. And you're probably right that he wants to make sure that he can trust Wallstrom with an extra minute of time, with
yeah,
an extra 2 shifts a game, 3 shifts a game, especially in those high intensity situations near the end of a game. So
yeah.
you're not wrong at all. Like I can completely understand it. I'm just trying to look at it and explain maybe what Trotz is thinking, at least what he's shown us.
Yeah, no, you have a point there, and hopefully by I don't know, the new year, or maybe a little bit after, Walsham can finally get those top line minutes regularly. Trotz has tried it a few times, and it seemed to work out pretty well. But
Here and there. But
yeah,
that was like, we were all belly aching for Palmieri to be on that first line. He does in the playoffs. He scores that goal like on the first shift together
yeah, it
against the
seemed like in the
Bruins.
playoffs, every time Palmieri was on the ice with Barzell, there was a chance, and a few
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah, they're energized. There was something about that run last
Wow,
year that was
nice move by
fantastic.
Peugeot. Nice move by Peugeot just now.
Man,
You
I
might be.
hate that I know I want you to turn on MSG Ghost, so we're at least on the same wavelength here, but
Yeah, it's all
I'm a
right.
few
Sorry.
I'm just on the ensuing play. I imagine Peugeot is on the ice, streaking down the left side here.
Yep,
There he is. He's got some moves, man. I
he
love
does.
that.
He
I love
does.
that little triangle move.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things like I love it. It's good to see, blah, blah. It's no fucking chance. There's no chance on the play. I don't give a shit about that move.
I mean,
Get the
listen,
puck on the net. There's guys crashing.
right.
You have the ability clearly to get
Oh,
around the
wow.
guy. Get the puck around. Get the puck
Bavilier
to the
almost had a nice chance there. Puck found his stick in the slot. Nedeljkovic makes a save. Puck goes out of play. But listen, looks good. Looks good for Bavilier getting chances. That's even if he doesn't score tonight, he's definitely more noticeable out there, which is definitely something that Trotz wants to see.
Yeah, but so the goalie get a save on that?
It looked like it hit Nedeljkovic. Maybe someone got a stick on it and went out of play.
I feel like that's just too easy of a save for him. Like I understand he's really far away, right? Like he's not the type of player that's going to snipe from quite that far away.
Hmm.
Like too often this season, we're seeing the Islanders just like flat out not get the puck on the net when there's a clear opportunity, or
Like just now.
yeah,
Like
it's
literally just now, back and forth play with Bailey and Bavillier. Nobody wanted to shoot, and they had every chance to below the dots.
that I think that's like, look, I know you're looking for your like the highest danger opportunity and all this shit, but like you gotta shoot. Like you
Yeah,
gotta just start getting pucks to the net. They're fumbling around. Yeah, man. Bailey, just get it to the net, man. Like
yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to do. You're forcing
Oh
plays.
man, and now Bavillier had an open net, and he sends it through the crease. It's tough,
Like
man.
again,
It's tough.
it's just that's
Tough
not
breaks.
look, at a certain point, this is kind of where that like eye test versus the analytics, right? Like that's a high danger chance that he
Yeah,
didn't convert on. It's like, dude, like at a certain point, that's not unlucky. You're playing like dog shit. Oh my God, I'm just watching. Like, that's not unlucky, dude. That's just like you suck. That's just you not fucking playing well. End of
tough.
discussion. I'm getting dangle right now. Just you're not good.
Oh, tough.
Right. And like you can't defend these guys over and over. Bavillier is always good. He's gonna get his chances. And Palmieri, like, dude, like Palmieri's not been good. Other than that playoff run, his play has been going down dramatically. His shooting percentage has been really bad. Like, look, that play there, I just saw the replay again from
The other
Bavillier.
angle.
Like, dude, like that's not unlucky. That's fucking bad.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
that's
Because
a tough
that's like
swallow.
he was going instead of stopping at the net again. Shit, you learn in Pee Wee's, stopping at the net and not going trying to skate behind and be a fucking hero. He is at a bad angle and has to open his stick blade up, and he misses the net. That's exact. Like you can't have that shit. You gotta play better than that. You're a fucking professional.
Yeah, tough.
I
Tough
hate
to see. Tough
hate
break.
watching, but that's no, it's not. It's not a tough break. He's bad. He's not playing well. Fucking end of discussion. You can't defend that shit. Oh wow, another tough break. You know, Trotz can't get up there and be like, oh, it's a lot of bad bounce. No, a lot of good bounces.
He was at a bad angle.
No, that's on him. He's at a bad.
Yeah.
You gotta realize.
No. That's
it's not just like
that's what I mean.
He didn't just spawn there. This isn't Halo. He didn't spawn there. Oh shit, he's at a bad angle. Like no, dude,
No. He didn't put himself in the right position. Is what I meant.
And that means, again, Cizikas here. All right, good. He's the type of player like Peugeot in the other situation, drive the net a little bit there.
Yeah.
You're not going to score. As a lefty, you're not going to score. The goalie's got way too good of an angle on you to score there. You got to try to square up to the goalie. But I will say, another great pass by Dobson out of the zone. Bell's good touch pass, a kind of touch pass over to Cizikas. That's the stuff you want to see. You want to see some chemistry between lines. Between players that don't normally play on the same line, but you need to hit the net. You need to kind of go back to that quality shot thing, or at least try to capitalize on chances. And in this game, they're getting them.
Yeah, the Islanders are about to get their first power play too, which is good to see. I forget. I don't know how to pronounce
Osterley.
Osterley, thank you.
Leave the name pronunciation to me. What'd you say? It was Ben Sherratt on the podcast. I wanted to correct you like 6 times.
Well, because I had gone on Habs Unfiltered.
Poor man's pronunciation guide, apparently.
And they were pronouncing it in French. And so I was trying to mimic it, but I don't know. My New York accent, I think,
we'll leave it
too much.
We'll leave it to our boy Mitch Anderson over there at Eyes on Isles to hook us up with the French pronunciations. No need for us to kind of fake our way through that. I will say, so when I was a kid, and playing Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, and I collected hockey cards and all this stuff. So like I knew the Penguins are really good. And they won back-to-back Stanley Cups, blah, blah. They're still, Mario Lemieux. And so they had you could choose your players. It was like Yager, somebody else, and Lemieux. And I thought it was like Lemix. I never understood how to pronounce that because I never, and again, I'm like 7 years old. I had no idea until I watched TV and heard someone say it. I was like, that's embarrassing.
Your dad was never like, it's Lemieux, bruh.
My dad never watched a hockey game his whole life.
Yeah, that's maybe you keep that one to yourself, pal.
Yeah, except I just said it on live TV. Granted, it was like 23 years ago. I'm not really worried about it. 24 years ago. Yeah, I'm not terribly worried about it at this point.
So something I automatically see right away for the Islanders power play, too many passes, right? Nobody's taking the initiative to shoot, get the puck at the net. And that's the problem with the Islanders as a whole, right? I mean, their power play has been good the last few games. I think they have like 5 power play goals in their last 3. But when it's bad, it's bad. They just don't shoot the puck enough. They're
relying a little too heavily on Wahlstrom to be that shooter. That's
and if they're going to,
and other teams kind of, granted they're scoring, so what can you really say? And he's been responsible for a lot of them, but. I do agree. Sometimes too many passes.
Great zone entry by Bavillier just there. Really came in with speed, chipped the puck up the boards, and then even deeper got into the zone and threw the puck behind the net. Really great zone entry for him. The problem now is the Islanders can't get set up to make their play. They're throwing the puck around the boards. They're not.
They're being kept to the perimeter.
Bailey just had a scoring chance just there. Couldn't beat the defender to get a clean shot off. They're not setting up their play in the zone to move the defenseman out of position and create a scoring lane.
They're not. I think we said that their defense was a little slow. Their forward group isn't really quick either, and it's really easy to defend a power play or even your offense when you're not moving. Yeah, Bailey there. Like how many times do you see a player go to the net like that and at least get it on net? Hit him in the freaking logo.
Yeah.
Like hit him in the crest at least. Like every single shot gets deflected. Every single one. I don't understand. Like it is not possible.
So we're at a commercial break right now. The game will continue in a few moments. But earlier, Andre said, I'm sure you heard about the Aturatu missing the World Juniors. This year is nuts. And, kind of like what we started talking about earlier with the issues that everyone, not just the NHL, but, all sports is having right now with COVID. Aturatu, it's unfortunate because it would have been nice to see him continue his revenge tour. He was not even invited to camp last year for the World Juniors, and this year he was a shoo-in. He made the team right away. So it would have been nice to see him compete amongst the best of the junior league players. But health comes first, and of course that's the most important thing right now. So he's going to quarantine for I believe the next 14 days. That's how it works overseas. And then, hopefully when he comes back, he can continue to do well for his new team in Liga, the Jukurit. And I have a feeling we'll see him overseas on this side of the pond by the end of the season for the Liga. I think he'll wanna, or Lou Lamoriello will want to get him in some games with Bridgeport at least.
Yeah, if he qualifies.
I think he will. He's of age. And his contract will be up with Liga at the end of their season, so no reason for him to not come over and get some reps in North America.
Yeah, and I don't want to call folks out here, but they're commenting here in the stream. Donnell, definitely right. Islanders don't have an elite pure goal scorer outside of Barzal. It's a little tough. They do it a little bit more by committee. And that's largely worked over the last few years. You can definitely point to this season it not working. I don't know that means completely blow it up. It's not worth it anymore.
Right.
But your second point, which we touched on earlier, and I noticed you're maybe just tuning in, Donnell. Islanders have the oldest squad in the league. To a certain point, that's not irrelevant until maybe 2 or 3 years from now. Right now, 30-year-olds, it's not like not that the biggest deal ever. They need to find ways to score. They're not scoring because they're old. They're starting to, they're just not capitalizing on the opportunities. And that might be because they're not good anymore. Who knows? But that's not the case for Beauvillier and whatever. We say over and over, these players don't forget how to play. They're very talented, but they just need to figure out a way to, just get it together.
So there's just a really bad turnover in the defensive end. And then Adam Pelech said to whoever the Red Wing skater was, hey, I'm Adam Pelech and I'm really good at this, so I'm going to take that puck back. And it was just beautiful to see.
Yeah, I see, every single game he has these moments. He's really good at escaping with the puck. It's amazing. Yeah. His footwork, talk about, someone, the Islanders defensemen that are slow and whatever. On the positive side of things, like, man, he can move his feet. I love it. And I think I'm just I'm obviously a little behind. I saw Palmieri shot to the net with Char driving. You can't get it. You can't hit his stick. You can't hit his stick blade and get that on net. And then Char deflected on the net. I just don't understand. I'm so baffled by just the continuing inability to just get a puck at the net.
Do you think Char has those kind of hands?
Dude, just put your fucking stick on. I'm not asking you to do anything with it.
Could hit him in the glove and go in. Who cares?
I don't shoot off his ass, his face. It doesn't matter. And that's on Palms, or that's on Char, just giving him an option. Again, if you've played the game before, everyone says that. Happened to me in Beerley. I just skated at the net on a 2-on-1. I think I was still in front of the defenseman, but I got my stick behind the defenseman. I didn't even shoot it. I just held my stick real tight. Guy found my stick, bounced right off and in. That was it. That was the play, right? Like he didn't really even pass it to me. He just used my stick to get it in.
Right.
Like that's simple shit, man. That's not Wayne Gretzky chess when everyone's playing with macaroni on and paste and paper, right? Like we're not talking about that shit. We're talking about put your stick and give him an option. How you can't put that 2 and 2 together is fucking beyond me.
So the Islanders are going to go back to the penalty kill here after Sorokin kept the game scoreless. So on another series of beautiful saves, but Palmieri goes off for slashing. Not a good play by him. It was pretty obvious. Oh my god, what a save by Sorokin. Couple saves. And then he repositions himself so well. He knows exactly where he is. He came out of the crease.
That's a bullshit slash, by the way. I hate that call. One hand on the stick, and you go up to him and kind of quote slash it, and it drops out of his hand. That's not a slash.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time though, Palmieri's got to control his stick.
No, that's not one of those. That's they gotta redo that rule. You can't just like as soon as he. That's not controlling the stick. He's trying to hit the guy's stick away. You try every single time. I do that on face-offs. If everyone just dropped their stick, it's a slash all of a sudden. That's bullshit. That's not hockey.
Andre said, great article on TFP about loose targets. Knows he needs an upgrade in talent level. Unfortunately, those guys are real hard to get. Yeah, I mean, listen, the fourth period had learned that the Islanders over the summer did inquire about Jacob Chikrin, did inquire about Patrick Laine. Chikrin's going to cost you a lot. He's got term under his belt. He's 23 years old, and he's an all-star defenseman. He's playing on a terrible team, but he's an all-star defenseman no less. Patrick Laine's got just this season under contract, but then he's a restricted free agent, so he's going to be equally as expensive. Both clear needs, a sniper and a puck-moving defenseman. Likely only going to get one of the two, if they even do get either of them. The other options, John Klingberg would be a good option for them. And there's the first goal of the game. Red Wings score on the power play. Dylan Larkin shot sneaks through. John Klingberg is another name out there who, the Dallas Stars are now being led by Miro Heiskanen on the blue line. And Esa Lindell is locked up a longer term than John Klingberg, so they can afford to move him. The question will be, does John Klingberg want to remain an Islander after he would be traded? And then they might go cheaper routes with, Ben. Say it again, John. Sherratt. Thank you. Ben Sherratt.
Who they need. The Islanders are now down 1-0 in the game on after Palmieri takes that penalty. So the penalty kill, again, they're confusing penalty kill that I don't understand how it works because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now the Islanders are down 1-0.
Yeah.
Well, if it's just a simple play, God, how do the Islanders not get that kind of bounce? That's just a bullshit shot from the point. There's no business that going in.
Yeah, it looks like it went off of the arm of Sorokin and in. His positioning was good, but yeah, looks like the arm.
Like that's a terrible. That's just not a good for how good he's playing. That's a super unfortunate goal let in.
Yeah, not the best goal you want to let go in, but listen, those things are going to happen. The more pucks you get on net, the odds are just better that way. So it's going to happen.
He's got to challenge that. He was way too deep in his net.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was definitely deep in his crease.
Like that's way he's not challenged. Now, granted, Bertuzzi is uncovered on his left side, which is
nobody was forcing him out of the crease there, which is an issue.
Well, no, but I mean, you want to be in position in case that pass comes, and you don't want to be all the way out of the net and leave a wide open net. So I understand what he was maybe trying to do there if he's looking out of the side of his eye, but that's on the D to not have whatchamacallit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Nobody was forcing Bertuzzi out of the front of Sorokin's crease.
You just said he.
Yeah.
Pronouns don't work when
Sorry.
They're all he.
For none of the defenders.
Best we know, they're all he's. Remains to be seen.
None of the defenders were moving Bertuzzi out of Sorokin's crease. Is that better for you?
Yes.
That's good.
Describe it. What's happening out there? I need specifics. I need nouns.
I forgot. You're not in my head. My bad.
I need nouns.
Yeah. And then back to what I was saying before, I do wonder if Calvin DeHaan, former Islander, could be a future then again Islander. But really depends on the trajectory of the rest of the season for the Islanders. What direction do they want to go in? Um, you would think, and I think Staple agreed. He wrote it in one of his articles recently too. The next 6 or 7 games, and that was like 3 or 4 games ago, are going to determine, and maybe force Lamoriello's hand a little bit. Maybe there will be a move sooner than later, before any of the negatives this season. We at TFP learned that they probably weren't going to do anything until the trade deadline, but I don't think they foresaw this happening. So it is possible it happens a little earlier. Again, something that I said a couple weeks ago, and John, I think you agreed, right? If this season is a lost season, that doesn't necessarily mean that next season there needs to be a rebuild, and we need to just sell off all of our assets and start from the ground up again. This
No,
this
because
roster can be salvaged.
if you look at Tampa over the last few years, they definitely had the same ups and downs. There were years where they missed the playoffs. There were years where they made it all the way to the final, then only the second round the next year. Go look at it especially if you're an Islander fan or you're just a fan of whatever team and you're just here. Which thank you for joining us. I'm sure THPN thanks you for joining us. Go look at that. It's interesting to see their trajectory. It was not linear
Another
upward
great back
projection.
check by Bavilier. Sorry, continue.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't this. Yeah, trust me, what you're saying is a little more relevant. We keep doing this back and forth here. We should probably just both watch the game, but I know we're trying to fill some time here because we're not actual play by play. Yeah, it's great. That's a great play. That's what you need to see. But like, you're forcing the pass there. All of your hard work just is, oh, I'm gonna flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
Do something else with it. Throw it behind the net. Like, give yourself an opportunity. Give your team an opportunity to get the puck. The other team is playing defense in hockey to force you to make a mistake and then capitalize on it. And they forced Bavilier to just make a pass to the middle of the ice, and which he had no business doing. And he makes a mistake and they get to go the other way.
Yeah.
I don't like that's a kind of like, that's not very good, man. Like, that's not good hockey. If I do it in beer league, which I've done, that's fine. It's beer league, whatever. You're in the NHL. You can't make that mistake. That's bullshit. But anyway, to sum up, yes, the Tampa did not have an upward linear trajectory to the Stanley Cup. It was kind of up and down.
Sure.
I don't expect the Islanders to just make the Eastern Conference final until they don't and they win the cup. Like, I don't expect that to be the case. They're going to lose in the second round one year. They're going to lose in the first round one year. They might not make the playoffs in one year, but they need to kind of do something on a consistent basis. There needs to be some good excuses that happen here and there to kind of write that storyline. Same thing with the Lightning. And Jesus, did Chara almost just launch
Did you
that
see
puck
that? How close?
into space on the high glass too? And
It hit the
zone,
very
like,
tippy
oh
top of the
my
glass and stayed in.
man, sometimes I just don't know with him. God, was he just a force in other years? In just the
Yeah.
last 2 seasons, like, I don't know, he's in his 40s, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's he's going on 45. It's
God, he just didn't even move on that that wraparound. Just
yeah,
didn't
it's
even
tough.
move. Just stood in front of the net and like, oh, well, goalie's got it. No, man, like, this is not how this works. God, it's terrible. That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough to see.
Especially against this team, man. Like, you can't be like, oh, veteran, and then like, look, he doesn't even move. There's no one head on a swivel.
Not
Look,
only did he not
behind
move.
you. Look behind you. Notice there's no one to cover, and go to him.
Not only did he not move, but he tries to clear the body from the front of the net and winds up putting himself on the ice instead.
Choke.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. You need to figure out a way to have Chara just be, if he's going to stick around, he's got to be the guy who's just a fill-in, every 5 games, every 10 games, if somebody, goes down with an injury, he's there to play on a every 5 game basis. It's been long enough with this experiment. I know Trotz trusts Chara's instincts and his wisdom of the game, but it's just not translating on the ice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. And then Trotz takes a timeout, um, trying to settle down a little bit. I saw Carrie Haber at Haber Metrics on Twitter say team's second period strategy is just throw it on Chara's side and for a 2-minute kind of sustained offensive zone pressure. And that's kind of what's happening here. Just Islanders just being able to pin in um, the Islanders defenseman, Chara, and really everybody else. I don't know that Pulak fixes that necessarily. I don't know that even just putting 6 and 3 back together solves that. But like, it's just, I'm just not sure what you can do here. Like,
So,
is it
so
is it a strategy thing? Oh God, how Palmier, like Wallstrom. I don't know how you don't get a better opportunity than that. I guess he's in pretty tight.
yeah, he was in tight. The puck was bouncing a little bit, which I'm noticing is happening a lot. And not blaming it on the ice here, but what I'm seeing is a lot of saucer passes that guys are having a hard time settling. Cross ice passes that maybe just aren't the best decision for the time being. And once they get into the offensive zone, there's no setup. It's throw the puck around the boards, try to get it to someone who's open, try to settle the
Peugeot
puck.
on the blue line, trying to make a pass to a defenseman that's covered. What the fuck is that?
Right.
They teach you that in Pee Wees. Get it deep. Get the puck back deep. That's an easy play, man. They're getting frustrated as a team, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot. That's just not good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's frustrating to see the same uh plays really, just or the same shifts, recycled over and over again. They're missing Barzell in this game. That's obvious, right? They're missing a guy who can really
Yeah, but
um
that's not, again, just like I said earlier in this broadcast about what Dangle said. One guy should not be a disaster. You can't be
no, I
like,
I
of course they're
agree.
missing him. Yeah, it goes without saying, of course.
No, I agree,
But
but
like,
the
it's
thing
just
is here, what I mean by that is you're missing your only star player, right?
yeah. But if you're by
That's
committee anyway, you gotta just figure it out,
well, maybe that's the problem. The by
and that's
committee
a roster
thing,
construction problem.
right?
So
Right.
at that point, fuck us fans, right? Like, I don't know what you're supposed. I don't know what we're supposed to do. We're just gonna sit here and watch this team all season. It's like, yep, it's just not working. Like at this point, everyone should only be tweeting, "Yep, it's not working. Yep, it's not working." Hashtag Isles doesn't matter. It's the same shit. We're not
Yeah.
seeing anything different. You can put line blender. I don't even care. Doesn't matter. It's not working.
This is when and it's tough because everyone has an opinion on how it's supposed to go down. You can't trade away Bavilier because then Barzell is going to be upset that his friend was traded. You know what? This is a business, and look, Bavilier is a good player. Maybe it's not working out for him on Long Island. He's attractive enough to retrieve you a necessity. You're not getting anything out of him right now, and you could fill a need on your blue line, say for in a Chikrin trade or whatever it be. Um, so maybe it's just time, right? To say that, yeah, oh, Barzell's going to be upset because you traded away his friend. He's a professional hockey player. He has to understand. So maybe it's time for a change of scenery for Anthony Beauvillier. Maybe it's time that you know the Islanders make a big move to change the landscape of this team, bring in more superstars. There's got to be, and I'm not saying build the 2011 Oklahoma City Thunder with Russell Westbrook and and all those all stars, but having someone other than Matthew Barzell who's a dynamic forward would be nice. a lot of people get on Patrick Laine for not being an all-around good player. The guy could score. He's a threat every shift.
He's not.
And
You're talking about Line?
yeah.
He got 3 goals this season. Let's just keep that in
Well,
mind.
he was out for a little bit. He has 11 points in 9 games.
Okay, that's fine. But
Right.
it's not like he's got 9 and 11 games or
No,
got,
but
got 3
listen,
goals. It's not like
he
that big of
looked
a deal.
damn good at the start of the season. He was making some real good plays out there. He scored 40 goals not too long ago, and if he can play with a distributor like Barzell, and he was playing with Mark Scheifele, so that just goes to show you with what he could do with the distributor.
Yeah, I'm not one way or another. I don't know. Clearly, the system and the team and the roster, whatever, can work. It's clear that that's a thing that can happen. However, it's not right now, and there's only a few things that went out this season. Komarov and Letty are the only real big changes. So you're
That's
telling
true.
me 2 players, this team can't put their fucking puck in the net, and they just can't play their game anymore. I don't know. So what else is the problem?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Everybody's playing like shit. Everybody's shooting, like having a low shot percentage year. Everybody all at once. Come on.
Yeah,
And
no,
look, you can point to 4 games in COVID, like it's all fine and dandy. They weren't playing incredible before that. Sorokin was. They were 3-0-2 with 3 shutouts because of Sorokin. They were not playing particularly well. I think we can all admit that.
Well, I wanna say before they went on that awful losing streak, they were on like a 5-game point streak, which is pretty good.
I'm
And I wanna say they were like 4-0-1 in that
Yeah, but
point
they can
streak.
be playing like shit in that time. And again, they were saved by Sorokin. Nothing
Yeah.
particularly great in that time. You
No,
can
I
shut
I
out.
I
You can
could
only
agree with you
shut
there.
out teams so many times before it's just going to catch up. And
No,
you're
I
seeing
could
and you're
I could
seeing
agree.
it, right?
Yeah, I could agree with you there. Andre says Johnny Gaudreau is the guy that you want, and listen, he's a great option. It's a matter of what Calgary wants to do. They currently sit in a wild card position, and I think they have aspirations for the playoffs. So it's up to them. If he's available, Lou is going to do his due diligence and call and inquire. But it's really up to the Flames and if they're gonna move him, just because there is that factor of they're hanging on to playoff hopes right now. So if you're gonna make the playoffs, you're not gonna move Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, and they're playing really well unless they can get some kind of asset. And what are they going to get back from the Islanders that's worth it? That's not a in season
Yeah.
thing.
When Jack Eichel and all the other guys are healthy, Vegas will have a cap issue. I would love to get Riley Smith from them. That's actually not a bad option. He might not come so expensive. And he's a multi 20, 25 goal scorer. So Smith's a good option. I just feel like that's just another Kyle Palmieri to me, and maybe he's a little bit better than Kyle Palmieri, but he's not you know, the impact forward that you need, like a Philip Forsberg who could possibly be available if Nashville's not going to make the playoffs and is up for a contract.
Is it worth it this season though? I
Only
honestly
if they
I'm gonna
know that
say
they
this.
can lock him up.
I'm gonna say this now. So this is December 14th, live stream, whatever. I don't think the Islanders do it. So and in saying so, it's not worth giving up stuff until the offseason. Wait for free agents, wait till the draft. Um, if somebody wants a Zach Parise and really that only players that you can really, kind of offload there are players on a 1-year deal as far as rentals, which I'm sure there's a market for an Andy Green out there. Not that saying that you couldn't re-sign him in the offseason. Same with Parise and bring him back. I don't know. It's not worth it. Again, they can't. They're losing 1-0 to Detroit right now. They're going to
Yeah.
climb the standings. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not saying it's over and cooked and it's like, but man, it's you're 80% done. I don't know. I don't think they can. My opinion is they can't do it. There's just no way.
I'm just not sure that Lamoriello is to sit and wait. Listen, his motto is when you have time, you use it, but I'm not sure he's going to wait for next year. I think he wants to still win right now. It's just
And that's great, dude. That fucking ship sailed 5 games ago, though.
Maybe.
After everyone got back, like, look, and that's all to say that it takes time to make moves. You don't want to overpay. Teams know your situation and that you're desperate. It's hard to make moves like that. I get it, right? But if it's not in December that they're trying to do this, it's not happening because then it's not worth it. You
No,
gotta find a moment when it's still salvageable, and that's frankly just not anymore.
listen,
Like
I understand what you're saying.
it's getting to a point where you wait and you use your time to a certain point. It doesn't fucking matter.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand the frustration. Um, it's just hard for me to sit here and agree that they're done, that they're cooked, because and it's not because of anything I'm seeing on ice with them. It's just the history of it, right? There have been plenty of teams who did not do well in the first half of the season and turned it around in the second half and made it by the skin of their teeth in the wild card. But it happens. I think the year that the Kings won the cup,
They were the
they
eighth seed.
they were the eighth seed. They
I'm not
got
saying it's impossible.
no.
I'm saying my opinion is they I, looking at what we're looking at. You can look at history and that's great. Um, one player isn't going to fix this. They need everyone to start playing better. And yeah, they need they need a defenseman and they need a forward. That's not exactly the easiest to get a top 6 forward and a top 6 defenseman,
Right.
a top 4 defenseman for that matter. Where? Where?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like Andre says that there's no way I'm giving up a chance for Shane Wright unless they have.
I'm not saying for Shane Wright. I'm not saying that
Look, no,
good that
I
this is
know. I'm just
happening either, right? Like I want them to tank for Shane Wright. Look, they're not going to tank. They're just playing like shit.
right, and what I'm saying here is, I don't think that there's any chance that unless they know they have the number 1 overall pick, that they're keeping this first round pick. If it gets to the
Yikes, dude!
offseason,
Like I
I don't
don't
think they
know.
are. I don't think they are, because if it gets to the offseason and they know that they need to retool a little bit, not rebuild, but retool just to figure it out for next season, that first round pick's got to go. It's going to go to a team
Yeah,
who's
in the
selling off a
offseason, that's
guy.
fine. I'm
Right. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
yeah, that would just be more specific then because not this trade deadline.
I listen.
Because it doesn't make sense to give up that kind of asset.
I don't disagree.
Leverage it at the trade deadline, at the draft.
If we were closer to March, I'd agree with you. But from what I've learned, from what I know, there's that possibility in the next few games that something could happen before.
They got to win some games for it to make sense, though. And
There's something
not
that could
doing that.
happen before Christmas. If it doesn't happen before Christmas, then I would say, yeah, they're going to hold on to it.
I would say, and that's what I said. It's got to happen in December. If it doesn't happen in December,
it's a very Thomas Vanek type thing happening here, possibly.
I think the priority, even when Pulak returns, is the defenseman. The forward group is okay. They're just not playing well. I don't know that you sacrifice assets to bring in someone like that. The defense is playing like shit as a whole. Char cannot be in the lineup. Maybe that, I don't even know that bringing in a player is going to force Trott's hand necessarily. I don't really understand the relationship between Trotz and Lou. I am frustrated and I'm more confused. Like that's what's causing the frustration because I don't know. It doesn't make sense past a certain point to do anything.
We got a 3-on-1 developing right now, and they can't convert. Oh, that's frustrating.
Puck on net, at least. I'm
Puck got on net, decent save. Probably should have shot sooner.
How do you not? So it goes. All right. I mean, that's like that's a decent chance, and then Salo, good position, tries to get the puck to the net. Man, I think just like Nelson's in the high slot there, right at the hash marks. Shoot it.
Yeah.
Like, don't get the puck. You waited. You got the puck back when you were all 5 feet closer to the net. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
that's not. You just wait. It's waiting too long. You have no angle when you wait until you're that close.
Right, that's what I mean. They should have shot the puck sooner. Look. It's a good save, right? You can't take that away from the
Oh no,
Nedeljkovic.
he kept like that. Yeah, that second time, that's a good opportunity. They didn't do the wrong thing. And again, you know what's a bad bounce and not getting the luck is Bailey trying to bounce it off the goalie, right? And it goes right between his legs from behind
Yeah,
the net, right? That's a bad bounce. That's not lucky. I can understand that all day. Bavilier at the side of the net, that's not a bad bounce, dude.
yeah,
That's lack. That's the little things that you're not paying attention to. That's details
yeah.
in your game. We're gonna catch our breath really quick, and we'll be right back. We're back. You made it. That was pretty good timing.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Not bad at all. So after two, Islanders are being outshot 32-19. Woof.
Yeah.
Not great. Block shots are pretty even. They're really not putting rubber on net. Sorokin keeping him in this game. Nedeljkovic, as you said, you had to give the guy credit for keeping the Islanders at bay. They have gotten a couple opportunities. He's gotten a little bit lucky, which is fine. And another period where we're left scratching our heads here.
So Andre asked the question, Trotz is going to the final year of his deal next year. If this season falls off the train tracks, does Lou extend him? Not suggesting fire Trotz with so many underachieving players. It's a concern. I think you have to look at you got to look at the bigger picture here. You know,
it's clearly not Trotz not putting the puck in the net. Like he's working with what he has. Like I think Lou can see it's pretty obviously. Here's the thing though. Lou admits, here's the shit of it. If Lou admits it's the players on the ice and not Trotz, he's admitting that he fucked up.
Sure.
Does he do that? I don't know that he does that.
Listen, he doesn't. Lou gives us nothing, right? We're not going to know what Lou's thinking, right? The only thing we're going to know is the end result of everything. Now, I will say that I don't think Lamoriello is sitting there and saying to himself, "This is on Trotz." I think it's a pretty widespread opinion that Barry Trotz is not the fault for the overall product on the ice. There are some decisions that people don't agree with, sure, and that's fine. We know how I feel about that. Don't get me started. But it's not Trotz's fault overall, and I think Lou is smart enough to know that. There are players on this team who, let's face it, are, just going through the motions. There are players on this team who are a little bit snake bitten, and a lot of factors are contributing to why they're not having success right now. Now, when you look at the bigger picture and you zoom out a little more, yeah, this season right now, it's tough. It's not great. Nothing great is happening, save Sorokin. But the past 3 seasons, like I said last week, Barry Trotz carried this team a long, long way. All right. They're trying, this is new to them. This lack of success is new to the Islanders. The recent Islanders, the Barry Trotz, Lou Lamoriello era of Islanders. They're trying to figure it out. I know with every game that goes by, we're deeper into the season, but 24 games versus 3 seasons of 24 games of a lack of success versus 3 seasons of major success is a big difference. I think Trotz is here for much longer than just his current contract. And again, there will be a retool if this season goes to shit. There's going to be different faces on the ice if this season doesn't work out. If it does work out, they might even do it anyway because, they saw or they're seeing now that they need more impact players. They're not getting that right now, and they might say to themselves, "Okay, we're not going to go through that again. We need a little bit of a makeover here." Trotz is not going anywhere, in my opinion. I think he's here for the long haul. Players, however, you might have to get used to the idea that there might be some players who you want to keep that might be going the other way. You have to give to get, and I think that might be what happens here. Unless, by the grace of God, a Philip Forsberg doesn't extend in Nashville and the Islanders to have the opportunity to sign him, and he, for some reason or another, decides, yeah, I want to go to Long Island. That would be great. You get a 30-goal scorer, a dynamic impact forward who could play first-line minutes with Barzal. Great. If it doesn't happen, somebody's going to be going the other way. And look, we've praised Lamoriello for the most part on the moves that he's made. It didn't work out this season. Now he's the worst GM in the league to everyone. It's been 20-something games. No GM across the league after 20-something games says to himself, I need to retool this roster.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
I think they need to do, like, you can't look at this and go, it's working. And it's, how long do you wait? I think that's part of the problem that Islander fans have. How long do you wait? You can't just be like, I guess it's not working, shrug
right.
emoji, and then that's it. It's like, it's only been 20 games. Like,
right. And there's
not good enough.
There's nothing that Barry Trotz can do about that. That's a Lou Lamoriello decision.
And like I said, I think what I struggle with is Lou Lamoriello too proud to sit there and say, yeah, I gave this core every opportunity to, as Andre said, give this core every opportunity, and they messed up, and that's on me for doing that. And I have to retool on the fly here, as like the Penguins have in memoriam at this point, or forever. Then no one died. Sorry, forever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's probably it. You got to retool a little bit. You're not, look at the Lightning. They've had to do that. They lost an entire third line. They got one of the guys back.
I understand, but there's
is
so
he
many
too
factors here.
Is he too proud? Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes.
At a certain point, you just have to play, and these guys just have to play well, and they're just not doing it.
Okay, but that's not on Lamoriello to get these guys to play better.
No, but it is his roster, and the buck stops with him. It doesn't have to be righteous and just and all of that, but at a certain point, someone's got to say, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to say it out loud. Each does it through his actions. Yeah, this roster isn't working the way that it's constructed. We know the strategy works, but this, you got to remember, the team played really well in that playoff run with Eberle and Palmieri. You had 2 different guys that can score 15, 20 goals, even if you didn't have Lee. That's a very different dynamic than having Lee back in the lineup and just Palmieri. So maybe they fucked that. I think, and I discussed that in my revisiting the Eberle trade. I think they misjudged not necessarily Eberle versus Palmieri, but what the roster looked like and how it would work together.
You're not incorrect. What I mean here is that there are so many factors into what goes into a trade, right? And as currently constructed, the Islanders don't have a ton of assets, right? Their one asset that looks like maybe it's going to work out to be a top end prospect is Aturatu, right? Samuel Bolduc, the idea of him is great. We just don't know yet. The idea of Robin Salo being a top 4 defenseman sounds great. We just don't know yet. We don't have any prospects right now that are guarantees, and even Aturatu is not a guarantee. It's looking good, but it's not a guarantee. The problem here is that if they start selling off all of their assets and try to acquire somebody, then they have nothing to fall back on. If it does come to the, and I'm not saying this year, next year, I'm saying down the line, if it comes down to, okay, we maybe need to do some sort of a rebuild here, they've got nothing to start with. The other thing here, too, is that these, look, just like inflation's happening in real life, it's happening in the NHL, too. How much do you think it costs for a guy like Jacob Chikrin? You're talking at least Anthony Beauvillier, Aturatu, one of Salo and Bolduc, and your first round draft pick. Now, you just sold basically anything that was worth anything in your wallet. Now you have nothing to work with. And if it doesn't work out, yeah, sure, you have Jacob Chikrin for another few years. But if it doesn't work out for the team as a whole, you have nothing.
Yeah, and that's why I think you don't make any moves this season. You kind of leave it alone and work on it in the offseason. You build around who you have, who's sticking around. You got to remember they do, not only will a couple roster spots maybe open up, but you also have some money to work with because of Lou Lamorielle's work this offseason. Yeah, we don't have to wait anymore for Komarov's money to come off the books. It already did. Boychuk's not an issue anymore. He wouldn't have been after this season anyway. But then you get a couple other players. Chara should not be coming back. Parise may be, depending on what they want to do with Bellows. Bellows maybe sticks around, but Parise, I'm not sure. So it's confusing. I just want them to look, if you're going to have patience to this point, because it's not about, it's only 20 games. It's the position they're in after 20 games.
Right.
They're a 500 team, and we're like, this could go either way. Sure. Right now, it's not a good look, and they have to dig their way out. And that's where I'm like, it's not possible. You can't sit there and say it's 20 games in the season and kind of shrug your shoulders and move on. That's just not the position they're in.
No.
It's much deeper than that. And again, with Boston kind of playing well, that's who they're chasing. It's not the rest of those teams in and around them or even above Boston. And I don't think they can do it. They just aren't as good as Boston, who is without Tuukka Rask this season, mind you, right? Like, if they can figure it out. And that's my struggle. Look, if they're going to make a major move and really kind of throw the eggs in this basket and try to figure out the goaltending this season, you trade Varlamov to the Avalanche to try to figure it out for Sam Girard. Straight up.
Maybe.
If you're going to go crazy, you're going to really throw your eggs in that Sorokin basket, do it. Now, the problem is they relied on...
Then you should have just claimed Anton Khudobin off waivers.
I don't. Yeah, the issue is to get it. You got to deal with some cap space. I don't know exactly what that is, but that's maybe right. Now, Varlamov's not done them any favors by playing like shit. Look, it's funny when you're an Islander fan or you're a hockey team fan, you're sitting there going, "Oh yeah, we should trade this guy. He's not any good." He's like, "Well, the rest of the league also know he's playing like shit. It's not a fucking secret, right?" So just because you're like, shoot this guy into the sun, like, to where? To which team would you like us to do this? Which GM do you think is going to be stupid enough? The Vancouver GM is Jim Benning. He's no longer in the league. The Arizona Coyotes have done enough favors for the Islanders this season. To where are they trading Varlamov at this point if he's not necessary? Fucking nowhere. Nowhere.
I mean, you could even say, like, oh, Edmonton really needs a goalie. Yeah, who are you getting from Edmonton? They're not trading Draisaitl. They're not trading McDavid. Nobody else on that team is attractive.
Zach Hyman.
Yeah. He's not what we need.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I'll go look at how he plays.
Zach Hyman's...
He's
a better case of Zizekas. No. He's not a goal scorer.
Yeah. Go look at his stats.
I don't know,
I would
man.
I would pressure you to go look at his stats, and
He's a
especially
pure goal scorer. Like they need a
not
pure goal scorer.
not again. We've had this discussion, and I'll maintain I don't really know exactly what the
We're
Islanders
talking
need.
about we're talking about needing to retool the Islanders here. And if we need to retool the Islanders here, they need an element they have not had in the 3 seasons that Trotz has been here, save Wallstrom, who's just coming onto the scene. They need another Wallstrom, one who's maybe a little bit better. And I don't want to say Wallstrom can't potentially be an elite goal scorer, but I don't think in this system, in this Barry Trotz system, I don't think Zach Hyman comes over and scores 25, 30 goals.
Who's the player?
Hyman. I don't think Hyman comes into the Islander system and scores 25, 30 goals. I think a player like, and I'm not
He's a
saying
former 20 goal scorer, and
right.
He's got 11 in 26 games this season playing with McDavid. Is Barzal
I
McDavid?
would have 11
No.
in 26 games playing with McDavid.
Yeah, we'd all like to think that, but I think I think the point is that he played in Toronto in that system and played really well. And yeah, Andre's right. Hyman's not available. We're kind of arguing over
True.
semantics here, but I think the point is, I wonder who the right person is.
And there's no way to know the right person isn't a sniper. How would we know it's not a sniper? We won't know. We've never tried it.
Look at this point, do something. I'm sure I will like it until it doesn't work. And if it does work, I won't say anything. There's nothing to say. That's it. Like, that's kind of the problem. I don't like editorializing and we're going over I know it's like part of the podcast thing and whatever. It's just not worth it to me. But again, I'm leaving it to the team to figure out. And like I said, it's not very fun. It's not good media for us to sit here and go, yeah, it's not working. End of show. Great. Like, it's just really hard to watch right now.
Yeah, it's tough. And I like what Chris said earlier. I'm curious now how much Trotz had input on who Lou brought in. And I'm sure he did, right? Probably wanted to keep Palmieri after that playoff run. Probably really liked what he saw from him and thought, yeah, that'll carry over. He was acquired at the trade deadline, started slow, but that's atypical, right? New system, new team, got to get used to it. Picked up in the playoffs, that should carry over. It didn't. It's tough that they probably both agreed, yeah, Kyle Palmieri should come back. It's tough. It's probably, I know Barry Trotz really liked Nick Leddy. I'm sure he did not want to see him go. But they probably talked and said, Dobson's ready. We can do this. Listen, mistakes happen. And that's what Andre said. Miscalculations, even by Hall of Fame GMs, happen. Lamoriello's got to correct it. You got to give him a chance. It's been a tough season so far. Big picture, it's not been that long. Small picture, it feels like forever. I get it. But it hasn't been that long. He needs a chance to correct it. And if he does,
I think we all just have PTSD.
Sure. Sure.
And which is like super fair. I mean, again, trying to be that kind of like centrist
voice
media
of
person,
reason.
But at the same time, like, I thought we were supposed to be out of this, and that's the frustrating part. And then when you're watching it and going, this could be the 2016 team changing nameplates, dude, it sucks.
No, I understand that. And I think what's the hardest thing about all this is the expectations. We came into the season, everyone chose the Islanders. Not betting against them anymore. How could you? And here we are. And that's what probably hurts everyone the most. And that's why everyone's calling for, pitchforks and running guys out of town. There's just, listen, mistakes were made. It happens. There have been other factors that contribute to, including just bad hockey. But there have been other factors that contribute to why this roster isn't performing the way they are. And is it a lost season? Who knows? Maybe. It could be a lost season. it's not time to dismantle the whole organization. That's just not.
I'm not saying anyone's considering that, but I don't know. Do something. I don't know. At this point, I understand that there's some time, but I don't know. That's where if he wanted to give I understand the way Lou likes to work and but the fans are his boss, more or less. The owners are his boss, but the fans are the Islanders' boss for all intents and purposes. And if he wanted to give us a little confidence, leak some shit, man. Tell us you're doing something. We'll
That'll never
relax.
happen.
Well, I know, and that's him being too fucking proud.
But the other thing is,
If he wants to help the fans feel better and show up to the rink and buy tickets and all that kind of stuff, do something. Do something about it
the other thing is though,
and let us know.
Darren Drager just a few weeks ago said, "Listen, I know that Lamoriello is working the phones. He's a very active GM. He's always an active GM. So it's not that we don't know that he's not doing something.
Yeah,
He's
but it doesn't need to be big. It just leak it on purpose. Control the media. You get to control what your PR is on this. Just be like, yes, we're checking in on defensemen. That's leak it. At least let us speculate and let us have the fun with that part. At least we know something's happening. That's the tough part with all of this. Is not doing himself any favors. Because you know what happens when he doesn't do anything and we don't hear anything and all we hear is, quote, he's an active GM, is, okay, when? And that doesn't help anybody.
right.
Doesn't help his own cause.
Listen,
So if it's not the players on the ice and it's not the coach, then who? Okay, do something, man. Show it. Something. We have a short memory, and this team doesn't deserve for us to have a long memory. Yes, 2 Eastern Conference Finals in shortened years. Caveat, caveat, caveat is awesome. However, you got to do it in a full year too, and you got to keep doing it over and over. We're not going to be satisfied with 3 good years. Doesn't matter anymore. You got to kind of keep earning it.
yeah,
You've not earned enough goodwill for me yet, honestly.
yeah.
It raised my expectations, which makes this more frustrating. But you have a lot more to earn.
It's funny because I remember a time where we were all okay with the idea of, every line can score, 60 goals because we have 3-second lines. That's great. Spread the wealth. But it does come down to the fact that, maybe that's not the best recipe in today's game. Today's game is too fast and too skilled to have a bunch of guys who, are good role players, but not much skill. And
the thing is, it didn't change in a season, so I'm wondering if it's just literal construction. I don't did Komarov really make that big of a difference? Did Eberle make that much of a difference?
Komarov.
What I'm saying is, there's not that much change in the roster, right? So what's going on here?
Maybe more teams did their homework on the Islanders, know their play style, know how to defend them now.
I don't know. You don't make it to the Eastern Conference Final, and then October hits, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we get it now." I don't know. There's something everyone's a year older. You can,
you said it can't be 1 or 2 players that you miss, and this team changes for does a complete 180, but it kind of is.
Look, I'm saying it is happening, but that can't happen.
No, I know.
You can't create a roster where that's the case.
I'm agreeing with you, and that's what's happened. The roster right now, it's just there's not enough young speed skilled players.
I think it's a defense first.
It's on the defense. There's not enough of that.
Just watching Char in the beginning of this period, just absolutely shit his pants behind the net and coughed the puck up. He had so much time and just shit his pants. Gave the puck up. There was 2 opportunities in front of the net for Detroit. And he got away with the trip.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how, as a Hall of Fame coach, you look at that and go, yeah. No, that's fine. We'll leave him. We'll just keep doing this.
Right.
Keep run it back. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
No, it's definitely it's frustrating, and again, the speed and skill in the blue line, you lost it 2 years in a row. Devin Tays and Nick Leddy are gone, and you replace it with, you want to say, again, like we said earlier, Noah Dobson, but it's not exactly that translation, and you add this is Daniel Chara to that mix, who's too slow and not skilled. So that's really where I think
What an amazing just like review. He's like, oh, he's not fast and he's not good. Great. Great.
but
That's exactly what's Jesus Christ.
it's the truth. I think that they're trying to buy his IQ. They're trying to buy, he knows where to be when he has to be there.
There was just a line change and he just tossed it into like his own bench. Are you fucking kidding me? Come
It's
on,
tough.
man.
It's
That's
tough.
not smart.
It's
That's not
tough.
anything. That's a joke. This team's a joke right now.
And the major difference, the only major difference between last season and this season is that puck moving defenseman. That's why I say,
Well, they didn't. It's not. Look, I think there's something here. They didn't just lose a puck moving defenseman. They added bullshit. So you didn't say like, oh, we just got a better stay-at-home defenseman, and no, he can't move the puck, but we're just better in our defensive zone. No. You lost a puck moving defenseman to get the puck out of the zone and be offensively minded, and on top of that, he's shitty on defense. So then he can't get the puck out at all, or get the puck away from anybody. In fact, he's giving it to the other team in the defensive zone. So that's not, you're only scratching the surface on what the problem is as far as what the Islanders lost. It's not just that Nick Leddy left the team and they lost a puck moving defenseman. That's only a small piece. It's just they went the complete 180 other direction.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that was the only. I think that's just the biggest.
No, my point is, it's the thing that you're pointing to and what they lost isn't even the biggest problem about the skill that the team lost. It's that it went 180 degrees in the other direction. Like I said, they went from somebody that can help get the puck out of the zone to someone who's literally giving it to the other team.
Oh yeah, it's part of my argument here.
Yeah, so there's just no reason to expect the team to be doing well. And in the offseason, it's easier for us to do that, right? We can look at the just on paper, because that's all we have. We can think that the team can do all right, that Char can survive. It really didn't take us long to go, nope. And then you're going to wait 20 more games after that to then be like, yeah, by the end of the month, we really ought to make a move here. Oof.
Yeah, and I think we should give ourselves credit here a little bit too. It wasn't just us. We thought
everybody.
we thought it was going to be much different. So did everyone else.
Go look at Jeff Capellini's pinned tweet. Not to call him out, because we all thought this, but go look it up and in fact, read it on the screen. It's like that was where we were all at this season.
What's this tweet? You have it?
Oh, that's what I said. Go look up.
Oh, you want me to look it up?
Yes.
I'll look it up. My computer sounds like it's a spaceship, but I'll look it up.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Capellini, friend of the show. I literally cannot remember a season for any team I have supported for the last 45 years that I'm more excited for than the Owls 2021-22 season. That's it, folks. It's time for a championship to come back to New York. There's nothing really else to say.
And here we are with nothing else to say and the complete opposite. Now, again, we're not calling out Jeff because we all thought this. This was something we all said.
Yeah, we did.
So that's kind of where I'm at too. It's sentiment is the same. Nothing left to say. Show me literally anything. They're losing 1-0 with 11 minutes left to the Detroit Red Wings.
Again,
and look,
Detroit's
we're not ignoring this game either and making this a podcast, which we're not even recording, which is sad on its own.
We're doing that later.
If we have the energy, yes. There's nothing to say about this game. Like nothing is happening. Like there's nothing to comment on. They're playing low event hockey as usual. Some shots from the outside here and there. That's it. Like you can watch the highlights from this and say you watched the entire game.
Yeah, it's a lot of dump and chase, not winning any puck battles, not setting up in the offensive end, you know, not running the plays. It's tough.
Yeah, I know a Wallstrom slap shot from a million feet away, right into the chest. Like, I guess great. He shot the puck, but that's low percentage, low danger. Um, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not exactly sure what to say about what we're watching. This is just like super embarrassing.
Yeah, it's not the team we're used to watching.
No, and I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because it's like we want things to get better. And if they do, that's great because the team's doing well. But then at the same time, that move that everybody wants to happen so bad is less likely because, oh, don't mess with the chemistry. Things are going well. So it's like if things do get better, then there's no move that everybody wants. But then if they don't get better, everybody's frustrated. And then there's still no move.
Oh, it's a lose-lose for sure. And that's why I say just do it if you're gonna do it. Like, easier said than done, right? But that's why I say leak something out, like, I don't know, or just come out and say it. I'm gonna do everything I can to make this team better as soon as possible. There's no confidence. He just expects it. And again, he came in and we got a lot of confidence from that as Islander fans, and that's great. And same thing with Barry Trotz. They did a lot of goodwill building the last 3 years. It's just not enough. There's
So,
just not enough. Like, we've been long suffering fans. It's like the Mets.
yeah.
You can't make the playoffs 7 years ago and go, yeah, well, we did that thing once, remember? Dude, the summer maze will be 6 years ago in the pandemic. I don't remember that. I barely remember what that felt like. It's over. I know it sucked at the end and that was it. And now we came in with some hope. And we're flushing it down the toilet. I guess that's where we settled.
I wonder what a team like Winnipeg, who's currently losing 3-2 to the Sabres and is a spot out of the playoffs. I wonder what their trajectory is because it seems like every year they're a team that everyone's like they're going to be good this year. They're a good team. They got Connor Hellebuck, one of the best goaltenders in the league. Kyle Connor and Nikolai Ehlers, two elite goal scorers. But they seemingly never put it together. When does that come to an end over in Winnipeg? And is there a possible fit for the Islanders there? I personally
I wonder. That's not a
would
bad. It's not a bad thought.
I would love to see a Kyle Connor or that's less likely than I think a Nikolai Ehlers, who you remember screamed for a long time ago. I
I
would
think
love to
we
see something
both
like
we
that.
both did
Yeah.
something. I wonder if it's like change of scenery move.
Yeah,
Something. The thing is, Bavili is just so young still,
and
and
so is
that's I don't.
Ehlers, so is Connor.
Same. Are they the same age?
It, relatively, at least. I think Connor might be 25. I think Ehlers is 24. So it's not too big of an age gap.
I mean, if it's a change of scenery thing, I don't know. I guess you give it a shot. The team doesn't just like automatically get better with that type of move, which
No,
I
but
think
we've
is part of
seen
the
we've seen
problem.
change of scenery trades from Winnipeg already with Line and Dubois, who Dubois is actually having a great season.
Yeah, that team is again. It relies on a lot of goaltending up, to pull Maurice teams. So I think it's kind of similar to the way Trotz does it. Trotz just kind of does it to a
Yeah.
higher degree. Um, you can just see it on these players' faces in the game how dejected they are. They don't know what else to do. It must not be very fun for them right now. And I'm not comparing playing beer league to being in the NHL, but I remember a couple seasons ago we were playing. We were just getting our asses kicked every game. I didn't want to be there anymore. It
Yeah.
was hard to like get the energy even if 0-0 after the first, like you just couldn't. It just didn't seem possible. And when you're in that mindset and they lost that winning mentality, that
Yeah.
thing that Detroit that had for so long, that Pittsburgh got, that Washington got, that they just understood how to win. This team just forgot how to win. That's it. They don't know how to lock it down.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess you can lose 1-0 for forever and ever, amen. But that's still not great. Like I'm paying less attention to the analytics, not because I don't believe them. It just doesn't fucking matter. You just like it doesn't matter how well they're playing if they lose every game. It doesn't. I don't care.
The
Do literally anything.
it's funny.
Where I was like on the same rant for 20 minutes. This is exhausting.
The way I think about the analytics, right? There's a story line in all of them. Corsi, just basically talks about the chances you get whether the shot hits the net or not, which is a good stat. And there are a number of players in the Islanders who do have a good stat. The ultimate advanced analytic, if you could follow me on this, is goals. Because that's the analytic for finish. And they don't have that. That's one analytic where if it was called something other than goals and it was just called finish, they would have like a 1.2, whereas a team like, the Avalanche would have like a 4.2. And that's the difference. They just don't have guys who can finish.
Yeah, I my old fantasy hockey team name was all Swedish, no finish.
Yeah.
And the Islanders are all Swedish and barely. They're like 10% Swedish.
Yeah. Yeah, if that.
They're more like a what is that? There used to be a thing on Lighthouse Hockey. I forget whose sign off it was. It was about oh man, a pastry with a hole is a donut, or a Danish with no hole is Anders Nielsen. With no holes is Anders. Not Anders Nielsen. I'm sorry, Franz Nielsen or something like that. Oh man.
Oh my god, that's
I forget whose thing.
Fantastic phrase.
I mean, I forget. I wish I could. I
I
think
get
it's
the
too
gist
old.
of it, and it's funny enough for me.
Yeah. Man,
Oh, that's great.
well, back when there was literally nothing to talk about for the Islanders, and you had to do that. Good old Lighthouse going
Yeah,
for the satire.
and I think that comes to mind because it feels like those times again for you.
It does. Oh man.
So the Golden Knights beat the Bruins 4-1. That's good to see. A little bit of a saving grace there for the Islanders. Eight minutes left in this period. They're just sitting in their own end right now. Fourth line's on the ice. You got. I know they locked up Martin. I know they locked up Cizikas. You got to wonder if Clutterbuck stays. You were of the opinion he was going to retire.
He didn't look after last season. His back, all this stuff. I thought he was just gonna have this year, and that was it. See what he could do. If they're gonna go for the cup, end it. That's it.
It's possible that he's done as an Islander. They still have Ross Johnston for another 3 seasons. Actually, I'm sorry. Did he get extended?
And I don't even want to look at it.
His new 4-year contract, I think, starts next season, so he might be around for another 4 seasons. But there's no reason why he can't play on the fourth line. So maybe Clutterbuck walks.
Yeah, but with Martin, that dynamic is very strange. It's entirely possible.
I don't think I mind Johnston playing on the fourth line regularly. I don't see him being. I think Clutterbuck has a better shot than Johnson, but I think that Johnson can do everything else just as well. That's just me.
Maybe discussing who the Islanders' fourth line for me is just the furthest thing from what matters, especially after this season. Like it's
just in a point to say, and now it's 2-0. It's just in a point to say
God.
that
I'm not even there yet in this broadcast.
Yeah, it's just
what I'm saying. Like it's if you can't win this game in early December, without Matt Barzal or not, I don't know why you'd give up any assets to do anything. And on 2-on-1, no less. Is this
could be
really
the price?
Happen?
The price could be right. The price could be right for the moment.
Yeah, but you don't.
If they
you haven't
do
had a first round pick in 2 years, keep it. Keep Ratu. Keep Salo. Like don't. They don't have assets. They don't have prospects as it is. William Dufour. There's a couple of guys, Dufour, that are a little ways away. Don't play the long game. Play the long game. Retool in the offseason. Just roll with it. That's it.
Yeah, it could be a desperation move if it does happen, which
And you
then,
don't want to deal from that
yeah.
point. That's not a good negotiation tactic. I don't care who you are. I know Lamorello will get a better deal than maybe other teams, but like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, definitely not.
So yeah, I mean, you get Pulak back and obviously Barzell. Oh my god, I'm. It's really hard to wrap my head. Like, I understand. I said this all broadcast that they're just not playing well, and it's not just luck, but some of it's like they can't even catch a break.
Yeah.
It's kind of been one thing after another. On top of that, they're not playing well when they are getting some breaks. So you're just in some shit all season. Like that's it. And that's why I say, like, I think this is just not their year,
And it could be,
which makes
if I'm
it
not,
super hard to watch any of this shit.
if I'm not mistaken, didn't that happen to the Lightning one year?
Yeah, like I said, they were years in leading up to that, the back-to-back cups where they just didn't make the playoffs.
What a move by Wallstrom. No goal, but nice move, nice shot. Yeah, I mean, you hope.
I mean, look, that play by Bellows getting the puck deep I assume right before the Wallstrom opportunity on the neutral zone regroup there is the move that you need to make that Bavillier should have done before. Instead of
Sure.
trying to force that puck across, Peugeot also did that. Get the puck deep. Gretzky curl,
Which,
no, you look over your shoulder, no option, get it deep. Done.
with,
Leaves an opportunity or a
with
couple of
this,
opportunities, some sustained pressure at least.
and with this new development of how well Kiefer Bellows is playing, maybe it's too early to say yes, he can continue to do it. But if he does, that makes Bavillier expendable.
It could. The thing is, he's playing like the same thing with Varlamov. You can't polish a turd and say, "Oh, great, other teams, you want this thing?" It's not worth it. He's just not like there's nothing to trade. There's no value in the asset.
I think there's something to say.
Maybe you trade Bellows.
Well, I think there's something to say of a player like Bavillier, and you look at the team, like other, and we know this from Kurz. Other GMs and coaches know the style of play for the Islanders. They look at a guy on another team and they say, what does he bring to our team and our system? It's different.
Yeah, that's also right.
We
That's
just
also
saw
right.
it. We're seeing it now with Jordan Eberle. Jordan Eberle's thriving in Seattle. They're not playing great, but individually, he's playing very well. It's a matter of system. It's a matter of who fits the team's need. The Arizona Coyotes might want Bavillier. The
It's
Winnipeg
entirely
Jets
possible. I
might
understand what you're
want
saying.
Bavillier. So it's just a matter of what player fits my system best.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. It's not wrong.
Varlamov has value. Problem is that teams know Varlamov is function of system and goaltending coach. That didn't stop Robin Leonard. Nobody wanted to sign him right away. He wound up going to Chicago. Still played decent. Chicago wasn't great. Played decent. Then went to Vegas, where he's their starting goaltender, and he's looked at as one of the top goaltenders in the league. So yes, the system factor does come into play for Varlamov. However, he's been a number one wherever he's been. Washington, Colorado. They moved on. But you take these things with you when you move on, right? Just because Leonard's not playing for Mitch Korn and Pierre Greco right now doesn't mean that he didn't learn from them and bring that with him. It's now still part of his game. So yeah, Varlamov is a bit older too. But there are teams when you look around the league who could use a goaltender. And, I keep saying the Oilers because they're the only team right now I can think of who do need a goaltender. But teams will inquire and they'll pay because they need it. They want to make the playoffs. Connor McDavid wants to be in the playoffs. Connor McDavid wants to win a championship. Yeah, they'll pay.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bend some other teams over a little bit and get some stuff, trade do whatever. I don't know that blowing it up. I think the thing is you got to have, if you're going to trade Varlamov, you got to have a pretty good idea about a goaltender you're going to bring in because it's not from within the system. That's for goddamn sure. So you got to have your eye on a goaltender in the offseason for that to make sense. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You can't. Varlamov's at least on the team for a couple more seasons with Sorokin. That's a good 1A, 1B when Varlamov's doing well. So I think in today's NHL, it's kind of what you need. It's not what's going on this season, but that's not a function of the system doesn't work. It's a function of Varlamov's not playing well.
Yeah.
He's a player you get the benefit of the doubt of all, right? Because the team's not playing well in front of him.
Yeah,
he's definitely earned that space. We can give him some grace. The rest of the team, yikes! That hit on Nelson. So I'm a little behind on and hit on Nelson. Jesus, I don't know how you just again NHL's a joke, and the ref, the officiating is just terrible. But yeah, I'm seeing. I just checking Twitter a little bit while you were talking for a second. It's not good, the feeling, and that's why I say I don't know how you don't figure it out somehow. And leak something out just to, God, this team, Detroit's playing like the Islanders were in the past, getting in front of shots and playing with desperation. Islanders are just dead. I'm not sure how you. I don't know. There's nothing to defend here with this team.
It's interesting because last game they looked opposite. They were home. Maybe that's the difference, but
yeah, well, that's you can't say that forever,
right?
Because they're not they won 2 games at home so far. It's nothing.
Right. It's just weird because they had such a good showing last game. More particularly the latter periods, the second period and the third period, they looked a lot more like themselves. And that's something I said. They looked a lot more like themselves in this game, curating that defense and turning it into offense and playing with speed and confidence. And this game is just, it's been that much different. It doesn't, like you've said before, they didn't just forget. It's just a lot of mental lapses, a lot of little mistakes. It amazes me how many times from the blue line a defender shoots the puck right into the chest of one of the defensemen or one of the defenders. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Some of that is Bertuzzi doing a really good job there on the point, but
yeah,
that could also just be get the puck deep, right? How much are you gonna walk the blue line before you're okay, I can't shoot. But instead, they shoot it right into him.
Right.
There's room to get it deep. Get it around him. You don't have to try to go through him. You don't need to try to find the littlest hole.
And there's a goal. Looks like Anders Lee tips home a blast from Noah Dobson. 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in this game.
Noah Dobson again.
Yeah, Noah Dobson again. Very, very good to see.
Up to the net. Oh, that was a lot in between there, unless I'm missing another. I mean, Dobson's the guy late in the game. Yeah, man. All right, that was direct Noah Dobson. That's great. If there's any silver lining to this, it's that Dobson, Sorokin are playing really well. Walsham has shown some spark, but as of late, Dobson, Sorokin are your best Islanders.
Yeah, it's true. Now that's 8 goals for Lee. That's good to see. He and Wallstrom are now sitting at the 8 mark. I think Nelson still leads with 9, and he missed a bunch of times. So that's tough. But yeah, good to see Dobson. He's anchoring that blue line right now.
Beginning of the season, who would have thunk that was even the way that he was starting to play this season? Never would have guessed that.
I think people hoped, it didn't start that way, and then everybody kind of lost that hope, and now it's a surprise because it's happening. People lose patience quickly, and not to say that they need to be patient right now. There's definitely reason to be impatient, but to understand
sure.
where Noah Dobson's development has gone, how he's progressed through the NHL. It wasn't too long ago he was sitting out every other game, every 2 to 3 games. He played 37 games in his first NHL season, protected
Yeah.
minutes last season. So he's now just experiencing for the first time real regular NHL minutes.
Yeah, and Sallow, good to see that he was out there, with under a minute.
Yeah.
Um, they didn't really get anything generated. You're probably in the latter side of this icing call. They're probably getting ready for the
Oof.
face-off. But
Yeah, almost a bad turnover just now, but they get away from it and look to settle the puck. Another icing. Yeah,
yeah,
Dobson's going to be a terrific defenseman. Maybe he won't be an elite defenseman, but he'll be at least a top 4. Someone the Islanders can depend on for sure. He'll be a 20-minute a night guy. It's up to him to take that next step. He's looking good right now.
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
God,
I'm
the
just like
puck.
just continually distracted by. I know it's the point that we're all watching together, but definitely just tough to
See, like now in
watch this.
this last minute, like things are desperate now. So suddenly we're going to make these crisp, clean passes that with authority for scoring chances.
I think it's
Suddenly.
fun. They play with they are just feeding Dobson late in games now.
Yeah.
And that's something that's so good to have that, right? And because it was Pulak for so long. So now when he does come back and into the future to be able to have both of those players, that's what is that pass to Dobson? Who's the other defenseman on this?
I don't know if it was Sallow that shift.
No. Somebody just made how do you do that? How do you just lose focus was it Bailey at the point? Jesus Christ. That's what we need.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, Bailey just makes the absolute worst pass in the entire world trying to get.
And that's a bad play right there by Pajot, which you'll probably see in a few seconds. Just coughs the puck over, and the Islanders lose possession and they lose the zone. It's a bad play. You can't do that. You don't just
You're
throw the puck to the middle of the ice like that and hope for the best.
you're forcing plays that don't need to happen. And I think that's kind of the yeah. There's
And
no
that,
one there. There's no
yeah,
one there. Get the puck behind the net. There's a player there.
yeah, that's tough. Islanders lose 2-1. Pajot with the last second attempt, but yeah, that's tough to see right there. And now is where this could be. And I'm not saying I'm not confirming anything. I'm not saying I know anything, but this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, because there's not even consistency. Again, there's a 2 wins to rattle off. But you had a game in Boston tonight that you saw them lose. Maybe you didn't see them lose because they're playing, but they lose. There's a possibility of that. You could really make up some ground a little bit, start gaining some momentum. You got to be able to figure that out one way or another.
Yeah. So again, this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. If they make a move, it would need to be very soon.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can't be after Christmas, because then it's too late. So if you're going to try and salvage the season, it needs to be within the next. I don't even want to say 10 days. I think that's too late. It's got to be within like the next
It's got to be before
5
Christmas.
days.
Yeah, but all right.
Before Christmas, but like that player needs to make an impact before Christmas, like get a game or two under
Yes.
his belt, and
Yeah,
and then go from there.
So it's really tough. We're about to go record podcast, which will be available tomorrow. Nassman Hockey Podcast as part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Thank you to everyone who watched along. We had a pretty good crowd. Thanks for all the comments throughout the show. We'll hopefully do this. It seemed to be a little bit of a hit here, so we'll try to do it as often as we can. And until next time, everybody, let's go Islanders.